That day, Yu turned 18. The whole family was very happy for him. They put a crown on Yu and made the young man a birthday cake. The father asked what Yu's wishes were this year. The young man smiled sweetly and said that it was a secret. Seeing his older brother playing secrets, Yunfei immediately hugged his older brother and urged Yu to say what the wish was. Their parents asked Yunfei to stop doing that and urged his older brother, who was starting to grow up. Finally, Yu said that his wish was that their family could continue to be as happy as it is now. But just as Yu finished speaking, suddenly a red light flashed across their house. A huge explosion occurred, and Yu's entire family fell from their apartment building. Yu could only roar, trying to grab all his family members who fell from the building. Suddenly a very large monster appeared in front of Yu. This made the 18-year-old young man roar in fear until he came to his senses and woke up from his dream. It turns out that the whole incident that Yu just experienced was a nightmare he had when he fell asleep in class. The entire class stared at Yu because he had just shouted. The teacher at the front of the class was angry because his lesson was ignored. He asked irritably, did Yu find his history class so boring that the young man was sleepy, or did Yu understand everything? The teacher immediately asked Yu, what is Earth old age? Yu scratched his head awkwardly, then apologized for falling asleep in class. Yu didn't mean that. Yu explained he studied very late last night, so he accidentally fell asleep earlier. But when this young man wanted to explain the Earth age, the teacher immediately stopped him and told Yu to stand at the back of the class. In the end, Yu had to follow the order of his plan-oriented teacher. The teacher just remembered that Yu is a study fanatic. So instead of losing face, he told Yu to stand behind Saja. Then the teacher pressed several buttons on his desk, and a fairly large Earth-shaped hologram appeared. However, the shape of the land on Earth has changed. The teacher explains it is Earth all age. In the year 2036 meters, suddenly there was chaos in space and time. This made the entire Earth a playing field full of danger and opportunity. So it was called the Earth all age by later generations, and it was also their current era. The teacher also explained that apart from monsters that come randomly, humans also have levels that can be increased and the ability to develop various jobs and skills. After experiencing years of initial catastrophe, the 5 major alliances finally suppressed the monsters and established a new world order. Yu listened to all the material from the back of the classroom. This young man was aware that in this era full of danger and unknown, everyone was eager to improve their level. But Yu couldn't increase the level even after so many years. After school, Yu is kidnapped by Luo Feng and his gang. They thought Yihao was stupid and told the young man to pay the security deposit. Yu answered that in the past he had protected Luo Feng when he was being bullied by seniors. He didn't expect that it would be Luo Feng who would now ask him for protection money. To answer Yu's words, without further ado, Luo Feng immediately hit the young man in the stomach and said that at that time he was blind. He thought he had followed a genius level 3 martial artist when he first entered school. Unexpectedly, after entering school for 2 years, Luo Feng had already advanced to level 5. But Yu was still level 3. Without feeling, Luo Feng smashed Yu's head into the ground. Luo Feng even said that Yu was trash who couldn't level well. Luo Feng continued to beat Yu while saying every bad thing. When Yu's condition was getting worse, Yu's younger sister, Yunfei, came and immediately kicked Luo Feng in the face. The girl didn't accept them beating her older brother. Seeing Luo Feng being thrown so far away, his 2 companions panicked. They were afraid of the existence of Yunfei, who had reached level 7 even though he was only 16 years old. They were even more afraid when they heard rumors that Yunfei had defeated a level 10 monster alone at level 7. With a fierce face, Yunfei asked them to leave in front of him. In a panic, the school delinquents ran away from the Yi brothers. Even so, one of them still mocked Yu by saying that the young man was just a young man who could do nothing but hide behind his sister's back. After the delinquents left, Yunfei approached his older brother and apologized for coming late. The girl also asked her older brother not to pay attention to what the delinquents said. Yunfei is sure that his older brother will become a great fighter one day. Yu rubbed her little sister's head and asked the girl to calm down. Yu was confident that he would become strong soon and would not give up easily. Even though he said that to his little sister, Yu was very aware that what Luo Feng said was true. He was indeed trash who couldn't level up. This young man had even checked the information from the calamity period to the present, and there had never been a situation where one's level could not be raised like Yu's throughout all these years. While walking home with his little sister, Yu asked himself, is he the only trash on the old earth? When he got home, Yu received a birthday surprise from his family. But this young man didn't look happy. He pouted with worry when he remembered the dream he had at school earlier. To prevent his dream from coming true, Yu invites his family to eat grilled fish at their favorite restaurant. At first, the mother complained because she had cooked a lot, but the husband tried to persuade her by saying that the food at home could be stored. What's important is Yu's happiness as the person whose birthday it is today. Long story short, That night, the family left the restaurant with full stomachs and satisfied hearts. They all looked happy and Yiwu felt relieved that nothing had happened to his family. But suddenly, a big explosion occurred behind them. The father swiftly embraced the bodies of all his family members. At this time, Yiwu looked at the source of the explosion and saw that an extremely dark gate had appeared behind them. Everyone ran away from the area because they knew that soon a monster would appear from the gate. Sure enough, a giant spider monster appeared from the gate. Everyone panicked even more and fled hastily. They didn't expect gates and monsters to appear in the safe zone like now. The Yi family couldn't just escape from the monster's presence because they were already trapped right in front of the ferocious monster. Because of that, the father came forward to fight the monsters. Before that, the father told his two children to run away to save themselves with their mother. With full confidence, the father jumped towards the monster and attacked it with fists filled with energy. Even though the father was only at level 10, he would not allow his family to be harmed. The father tried to attack the monster once again, but the spider monster managed to dodge and attacked back with slime and monster arms that were as sharp as spears. The father's body was thrown and this made the mother panic. The adult woman asked her child to leave while she ran to help her husband, but the mother's fate was worse. She was immediately hit by the monster's big arm, and with a terrible voice, the monster said he would eat her mother later. According to him, a level 10 human fighter would feel better. When the monster's huge arm almost attacked his father, Yi Yunfei immediately shot an arrow and challenged the monster to fight him instead of fighting his father. Without saying much, the monster immediately attacked Yi Yunfei, who looked troubled. Even so, Yi Yunfei still refused and told his older brother to take their parents away while she would restrain the monster. Yi Wu was so panicked that he couldn't move. This young man realized that his nightmare had come true. At a critical moment like this, he could only stand still with his body shaking. Realizing that he couldn't possibly win against a monster that was at level 15, whereas he was only at level 3. Suddenly the monster stabbed Yi Yunfei's body, causing the girl to fall with a bang. Quite a large wound on his arm. The monster came towards Yi Yunfei while saying that the girl should be his food obediently. According to him, a young woman's body would feel good. When the situation became more critical, Yi Yunfei was so scared that his body couldn't move. The monster's attack almost hit him again, but fortunately, his older brother arrived in time to block the monster's attack with his body. Yi Wu asked his little sister to leave that place immediately because he couldn't hold back the monster any longer. Yi Wu insists that even if he has to become monster food, at least he can be useful to his family. Suddenly the monster attacked Yi Wu by stabbing him in the back. Even though he was in such a terrible condition, Yi Wu still asked his little sister to immediately go to save himself. This time Yi Yunfei followed his brother's words and ran for his life. In critical condition, Yi Wu hoped that he was strong enough so that none of this happened. In his desperate condition, this young man still hopes that his level can be improved. To be honest, he didn't accept it because his level couldn't be increased and he was very weak. Slowly, this young man's consciousness disappeared. The monster laughed horribly when it realized that a level 3 trashman dared to challenge it. However, the system appears and notifies the host's accumulated X points have now reached the standard and that has been activated. As the host loses the ability to move, the system will randomly select a king account on behalf of the host. The system chose a king in red armor who looked very scary. Meanwhile, on the other hand, Yi Yunfei tried to escape with the remaining strength he had. The girl kept apologizing in her heart to her older brother because she couldn't help her older brother. But unfortunately, the monster managed to block the girl's path. This girl realized that because she couldn't escape, she would take revenge on her brother. So Yi Yunfei ran to attack the monster when suddenly a man's voice sternly asked him to dodge. Then as fast as lightning, Yi Wu dashed with enormous energy to attack the monster. With just one attack, the monster's body was so large it hit the wall. Yi Yunfei looked at the figure before him and realized that the man filled with terrifying energy was his big brother. Yi Wu had already returned to his senses with immense energy. The young man asked his little sister to leave while he fought the monsters. Not long after, the monster rose again from the pile of buildings and attacked Yi Wu again. According to him, a level 3 trash human couldn't succeed in attacking him. So he was determined to defeat and eat Yi Wu. Of course, this young man did not remain silent. He immediately created an enormous sword from his newfound energy, then attacked the monster with the lightning energy released by his sword. The attack was strong enough to break several of the spider monster's arms. The monster didn't expect the man in front of him, a level 3 fighter, to manage to deal with quite a big attack on him. Even so, when he retreated for a while, Yi Wu suddenly vomited blood. Yi Wu suspected that this extraordinary power was beyond the reach of his body because at this moment his body seemed unable to withstand the power until it felt like it was being split in two. Seeing its opponent pushed like that, the monster laughed with satisfaction. He laughed at Yi Wu's weak body which was unable to exert such great combat power. In his opinion, it was certain that Yi Wu's body would explode. In his heart, Yiwu confirmed the monster's words because his HP was almost gone and now his HP was locked by the golden transformation energy. He had to quickly defeat the monster before his transformation energy ran out, otherwise he would die. The spider monster walked in another direction while saying that trash like Yiwu had no interest in him and was just a waste of his time. Even though Master King had helped him open the safe zone portal, so he had to hurry up to devour some more high-level fighters. Seeing that his opponent was about to escape, Yiwu immediately created a fairly large circle of fire around them. Yiwu asked the creature to stop and just go to hell. For a moment the monster was shocked to see Yiwu's extremely energetic change in appearance. But suddenly a group of guards came to attack the monster. Yihao asked the guard troops to be careful and not approach the monsters directly because they might die. But some of the guards persisted because they thought there was no way that many people could be defeated by just one monster. They asked Yiwu to leave that place because as a level 3 fighter, he was only disturbing their work. All members of the guard squad felt confident that they could defeat the spider monster. Apart from that, the monster's HP only had 30% remaining. But the monster didn't think like that. It quickly deployed a net from underground to attack the entire guard squad. In a short time, the entire guard force was caught and could not escape the spider's web. The spider monster laughed with satisfaction because it managed to get a lot of prey. The monster says this is what makes it like humans, they can't tell how tall their opponents are until they are easily defeated. After that, the monster absorbed all the EXP from the guard troops. Yiwu panicked seeing that the monster managed to capture the entire guard squad. Moreover, when he saw that the monster immediately rose 3 levels after absorbing all the EXP of the guards. With higher strength, the spider monster approached Yiwu and said it was the young man's turn to die. The spider monster immediately attacked Yiwu with quite a lot of force. Even though Yiwu could withstand it, he seemed quite unable to withstand the monster's attack. The monster said he didn't care about defeating a lower human like Yiwu. As long as the level can increase, an earth-shaking transformation will occur. So while continuing to attack Yiwu, the monster decided it would play Yihao to death and then eat him. Yiwu was increasingly unable to withstand the monster's attacks. Yiwu realized that the monster's strength had increased drastically from before. This young man was confused and asked what he should do because his energy was almost gone. The spider monster laughed again at Yiwu, who looked very desperate. The monster asked where Yiwu's fighting spirit was from earlier. Unexpectedly, Yiwu's body was thrown away because he could no longer withstand the monster's attack. At this point, the monster says he thinks trash is trash. Yiwu stood up again and with a serious face said that for 3 years he was always laughed at and insulted by many people because his level could not rise. Now he will show what kind of human strength the monster considers rubbish. Yihao activated a bigger attack with his sword. A huge flame appeared, creating a storm that surrounded the monster. The giant monster roared extremely loudly as its body was roasted by the mysterious flames. The monster realized that the fire statement was not ordinary fire, because in fact, that fire contained the Taoist rhyme of a powerful king. The monster was surprised and asked who Yiwu was. Why was he able to create such a powerful attack? But before the monster got an answer, its entire body was already charred by Yiwu's attack. Not long after, the system appeared notifying that Yiwu had successfully defeated the ghost ID spider monster until he managed to get 20,000 EXP points. But suddenly, Yiwu fell and almost fainted. This young man's body had truly reached its limit, but he was happy because he managed to defeat the monster. When Yiwu tried to pick up the dropped item, his eyes slowly closed because his body was too weak. The system notified that Yiwu had succeeded in taking all the drop items from the spider monster. But because the injuries on this young man's body were too severe, the 10,000 X points were automatically converted to repair the body, and the remaining X points were 10,000 points. The system automatically repaired Yiwu's body until the young man's health recovered 100% very quickly. Yiwu opened his eyes and was shocked to realize he was not in his own system space. This young man wondered where he was. And what place is that? Because that place was exactly like the vast space of the galaxy. It was filled with planets and stars and things he didn't understand. The system informs that since the global field conversion, each player has their own system space to observe and determine their attributes and store various equipment or. Yiwu saw the figure of a man in red armor in front of him. This young man suspected that this figure was the source of his strength. It turned out to be the Cayenne King, who was at the maximal level. The system welcomed Yiwu to the maximal level account of the kings. Apparently, the system has max level accounts from countless game planes. Yiwu can use personal experience points to gradually open a king account. Since the host's accumulated X points have reached level 10, a random account has been automatically activated. From the notification, Yiwu realized that his 3 years of hard work had not been in vain, but his EXP had been forcibly absorbed by the system. Yiwu guessed that this way he would go straight to the top. The system notifies that even though the initial level of King Kai-yen is at max level, the host still needs to use X points to increase the link level for each account. The higher the link level, the stronger the account can be used. It is recommended that the host get more X points as quickly as possible to increase the link level. Hearing the system notification, Yiwu just realized there is nothing too good in this world. But it shouldn't be difficult to use the King Kai-yen account ability to get a lot of X points. But he thinks it's not enough. There are various copies of the known and unknown in this world, and although strength is the foundation, it cannot solve everything. Yi Hao thought about finding out the optimal use of the system as soon as possible. King Kai-yen had the ability of a max-level powerhouse from another world plane. That power had been used to lead his own clan in the past. They used the power of Kai-yen to unify the world, becoming the first generation of gods, and were named Kai-yen kings by subsequent generations. This account has a link level of 10 and the inflammatory attribute, or darkness. His weapons are flame shadow greatswords. His basic fire attribute skills are quite great. From the notification, Yiwu knew his first small goal was to level up as soon as possible to open more accounts and then create a king army with all attributes. This way, Yiwu was confident that he would not have any weaknesses in attributes. The system notifies there are 10,000 X points remaining in the system. The host can choose to increase the account link level or unlock other additional skills. So Yiwu decided to increase the link level. The main priority now is to improve your survival skills and open an account. Skills and everything else can come later. The system immediately confirmed Yiwu's request. So quickly Yiwu's body was covered in bright light. The system says his account link is 2 and his link level is 12. Yiwu smiled happily when he felt an immense power enter his body. When he asked if his basic attributes had also increased, the system appeared and informed him that his level was still 3. Yiwu was amazed and wondered, was the system forcing him to continue behaving like an idiot pig? Suddenly Yiwu heard his little sister's voice and immediately opened his eyes. Currently, Yiwu's body is lying comfortably in the hospital design. This young man woke up and realized that his body did not have any wounds. He realized he was healed, but also his whole body. Even so, he really regretted having spent 10,000 X points. From inside his room, Yiwu heard his younger sister arguing with the doctor about the very expensive treatment costs. Yiwu smiled happily, realizing that his family was still safe, but it seemed that their condition was not good because they needed quite intensive care. The doctor explained to Yi Yunfei that the 4 family members were all affected by elite monster debuffs or poisons, and the medical staff had to use special medicines for long-term treatment so that all Yi family members recovered completely. And according to doctors, the only way to get rid of the poison is with long-term treatment to prevent death. But according to the doctor, the other 2 men were not so lucky. Without medicine, their father couldn't live for a month, but Yiwu couldn't live for more than a week. Hearing the doctor's words immediately made Yi Yunfei and her mother fall into great sadness. Yi Yunfei even coughed quite loudly because she was so shocked. The mother asked Fei Fei not to worry because she would find a way to get the money. The mother said they could sell the house or whatever to pay for medical expenses. But suddenly, a young man's voice prevents the mother from selling their house because the house contains their family's memories. Yiwu was already standing in the hallway and firmly said that the house was the result of their hard work and a part of their lives, so the house should not be sold. Yi Hao also said that I would find a way to raise money for maintenance so that the house would not need to be sold. Everyone was shocked to see Yi Hao standing up straight and in good shape. Yi Yunfei immediately approached her older brother and asked, "Why are you out of bed already?" Sang Yiwu replied that I was fine, so he asked his little sister to stop talking because it would make his body condition worse. The doctor was shocked to see Yiwu's condition, which had returned to health and fitness. The doctor even detected that the poison in Yiwu's body had completely disappeared. In fact, among the 4 male family members, you are the one who received the most fatal wounds and poison. So the doctor was shocked and asked how Yiwu healed himself so quickly. Yiwu answered that the reason was not important. The most important thing now was that he needed more treatment. So the young man asked the doctor how much money was needed for the treatment of all his family members. With a heavy heart, the doctor answered around 300,000. The doctor thought that there was something wrong with Yiwu, because the doctor knew that the young man in front of him was only at level 3 but his healing speed was faster than those at level 60. Yiwu begged the doctor wholeheartedly to treat his family because he would collect that amount of money within 1 hour. The doctor was even more shocked when he heard Yiwu's words. He asked how the young man in front of him collected that much money in just 1 hour. But even though it sounded impossible, as a doctor he was willing to give Yiwu 1 hour of his time. Hearing the doctor's words made Yiwu truly grateful. After that, this young man went out of the hospital and sat in the park while thinking about how to get 300,000 as quickly as possible. Although this young man had a habit of saving, even if he added the money he got from killing ghost eye demon spiders, the amount was still far from 300,000. According to Yiwu, the fastest way to make money was to sell items and equipment. and the most valuable thing in his storage space now was a rare level 15 magic crystal. Yiwu stared at the crystal in front of him, hoping that it could be sold for a good price. The system's description of the crystal was that after defeating a monster a drop item would appear, and the crystal was the basic material for making magic equipment. The higher the level, the more valuable it will be. Yiwu thought that if he went to a normal auction house, although he could sell at a standard price, it would take a lot of time and couldn't be finished in an hour. And there was a level limit on the sender, and a level 3 fighter like Yiwu had no chance at all. Yiwu really had to rack his brains hard to earn that much money in such a short time. Finally, Yiwu decided on the only way that might work. The young man wanted to step into the narrow hallway. This young man knows that under the shadow of this safe zone 9, there is an underground black market that anyone can freely trade in regardless of their level. The prices of goods on the black market were secretly manipulated by several large power groups, which could be said to be a mixed place. If he had changed from before, he would never have come to that place personally, but now with the greatest need for money. When he arrived at the entrance, this young man was confronted by two large men. They said that that place was not a place for little devils to play, so they suggested that Yiwu leave that place immediately. Yiwu said that he knew the place and no one would go to the black market to fool around. This young man explained he had come to sell his goods. A man who had a wound on his face laughed at Yiwu's words. He said that his black market does not accept children's toys. Yiwu explained that he came to the place with good things to sell, so he asked to be let in because he was in a hurry. The other big man immediately grabbed Yiwu by the collar of his robe and asked harshly what good things a little kid like Yiwu could have. They were very impatient and told the young man to leave immediately before their patience ran out. But the rude attitude of the two gate guards had to be stopped by an old man who came out of the balcony door. The man says when he opens the door for business, then they will try to make a profit from good things. According to him, everyone can trade freely as long as they have good goods. Finally, the guards obeyed and remained silent before Elder Lai. Then the old man asked Yiwu to show him what good things were brought. Yiwu opened his robe and asked everyone to take a good look at the red gem he was carrying. Elder Lai was shocked to see such a rare crystal stone. The guards didn't expect a young man who was still at level 3 to have such a rare crystal. Elder Lai asked his guards not to discuss it in his business. Then the old man asked his guards to bring Yiwu in. When Yiwu walked into the first floor of the Black Market Trading Center, he was very amazed to see the very modern and advanced conditions in the room. This condition is very different from what was previously imagined. The place was more like a bar, plus there was a beautiful female waitress who was very flirtatious. Yiwu thought it seemed like the boss of that place had some way of getting the buyers drunk and having fun. Suddenly 2 men stopped Yiwu's steps. They laughed at the presence of a level 3 newbie like Yiwu. They even asked Yiwu to immediately go home and drink the milk like a child. When they intended to bully Yiwu further, Elder Lai's guards immediately stopped the 2 foreign players and said that Yiwu was Elder Lai's guest. So do they dare to cause trouble with guests from the Huanzhen group? Hearing this, the 2 big men immediately let go of Yiwu. When they saw Yiwu being taken away, they complained because their prey was taken away by people from the Huanzhen group. Meanwhile, in a special VIP private room, Elder Lai welcomed Yiwu with a friendly smile. So without wasting any time, Elder Lai said, although the magic crystal in Yiwu's hand was indeed good, after all, it was only level 15. So the price was not high. Yiwu smiled slyly. He didn't expect the price to be lowered in the transaction process. Yiwu now realized that the old man in front of him did not want to give a fair price. Although Yiwu was only at level 3, he was not a 3-year-old child, so he can still find out whether things are worthless. This young man asked to be given an attractive price because he was in a hurry. Elder Lai laughed at Yiwu's words. He realized Yiwu had decision-making skills, even though he was only at level 3. However, Elder Lai explained that if it was an ordinary magic crystal, it would be worth 1 or 2,000. But because Yiwu's rare magic crystal was rare, then it would be purchased for 100,000. Yiwu was surprised to hear such a small nominal amount. He stood up and said he no longer wanted to do business transactions because he was treated like a 3-year-old child who was easily deceived. Yiwu knew that although the price on the black market was lower than the auction site, his magic crystal was worth at least 200,000. Yiwu intended to leave the room to look for someone else who would buy the crystal at a high price, but the exit was immediately blocked by 2 big men. Then Elder Lai said that when the young man came into his room, he would have no other choice but to sell his goods to Elder Lai. After all, no one out there would ever dare to refuse what the Huanzhen group wanted. Yiwu looked at their preparations and asked in his heart, did they really want to fight in the first place? Even though on the black market everyone should sell freely. Yiwu thought about using the Cayenne Emperor's account to get out of that place, but even if he could get out, the chaos caused would be detrimental to him. It is even possible that the young man will not be able to earn any money at all, and that will make caring for his family even more difficult. Elder Lai threw a bundle of money on the table and told Yiwu to accept 100,000, which was definitely a lot of money for a kid like Yiwu. This black remote youth stared at the money on the table and thought, can he just accept the money and have no other choice? He didn't expect to encounter something that couldn't be solved with strength this quickly. Yiwu really felt very unlucky today. But suddenly a voice came from outside the door saying that he didn't expect a respectable group like the Huangjang group to have business with a kid who was still at level 3. He thought it was very embarrassing, so he asked his aide, who was very tall and wore a mask, to get rid of him. People blocking the VIP door. After that, the young lady entered the room and said, I would join this business because I heard there was something good. Apparently, that woman is Miss Mo here. Elder Lai was astonished to see the woman and asked how she dared try to steal his transaction. Miss Mo answered that stealing is a very bad word, even though the black market regulations clearly state that trade must be proportional to the price and quality of the goods. Miss Mo also reminded that the older Lai should know the rules better than them. Yiwu glanced at Miss Mo and realized that I had heard of that woman's name. Miss Mo approached Yiwu and coquettishly said that the magic crystal that the young man had was very interesting, so I would bid at 300,000. Elder Lai immediately stood up with a shocked expression. He didn't expect Miss Mo to bid at such a high price, even though Yiwu only asked for 200,000. Miss Mo said that I am very rich and very stubborn, but I am not like the Huangjang group who have the heart to rob a level 3 kid's things. So according to her, the old diarrhea spent 100,000 more to protect Yiwu. Miss Mo thinks this sale is worth it. Annoyed by Miss Mo's words, Elder Lai immediately left with his guards. Miss Mo waved goodbye to Elder Lai and wished them to meet again when there was good stuff. Seeing the interaction between the two of them made Yiwu remember that the relationship between the Huangjang and Hanmo groups had long been hostile in the 9th security zone. But this young man did not expect that he would meet and benefit from their troubles. Realizing that the woman in front of him was very rich, Yiwu immediately thanked her while seducing her. Yiwu also tried to offer some other things to Miss Mo, but Miss Mo's face quickly changed. I immediately rejected Yiwu's offer and said that the young man didn't need to thank me. Miss Mo only deliberately used the opportunity to cover up and insult Elder Lai. So Yiwu's business actually had nothing to do with that girl at all, but I happened to be in front of Yiwu's path. Miss Mo walked out of the room while asking her bodyguard to give money to Yiwu, then ignored the crystal. After Miss Mo left, Yiwu smiled with satisfaction because I managed to get the money needed. Meanwhile, at the hospital, the mother and Feifei were still busy crying over their father's increasingly critical condition. But suddenly the hospital director, who had a very fat body, burst into the room and got angry because there was a patient who didn't want to pay the hospital fee. The director asked why the patient was still being treated at the hospital. The doctor tried to explain that they had already paid the money for the emergency room and were waiting for the accommodation costs. The fat director became increasingly angry with the doctor. He even grabbed the doctor by the collar and said in annoyance that he was opening a hospital, not a welfare institution. According to him, the life of a cheap person is not as expensive as the medicine he has bought. Even so, the doctor still tried to explain that the son of this family was collecting money so they could still wait a little longer. Because of his words, the doctor got an extra hard look on his face. According to the director, the level 3 fighter was just a child, so there was no way he could collect 300,000. Moreover, the nutrition given to their father was very scarce. The fat director cruelly said that even if the parents were sold, the money would not be worth it to pay for the nutrition they had bought. But even so, they still want to cure the disease. According to him, it was a waste of money. The fat director tried to grab his father's body, but Feifei stopped the director and begged his father for help in a moment. Feifei tried to convince the director that sooner her older brother would definitely come back with the money they wanted. There was a commotion between the two of them because the fat director really wanted to remove the device attached to his father's body, but Feifei tried to hold it back with all her might, until finally the fat director pushed Feifei's weak body. It was at this time that Yiwu came into the room while kicking the door. The young man asked the fat director to stop abusing his family. Seeing that the hospital door was broken, the director was angry and immediately grabbed Yiwu's clothes. The adult man asked who the young man in front of him was, and why did he have the audacity to break down the hospital door. The director asked if Yiwu had the money to compensate for the door. Instead of answering all the director's questions, Yiwu instead asked with a terrible expression, "Was the director's dirty hands the ones he used to hurt my family?" In the previous part, Yiwu managed to get the money needed to pay for hospital treatment. But there is another problem, namely the hospital director tries to expel his family, so what happens next? Let's get started. The fat director groaned in pain when he felt his left hand burning. He panicked and asked what happened to his hand. Why did fire suddenly appear in his hand? The fat director panicked and left the room and looked for help to treat his hand. The doctor immediately approached Yiwu and asked what the young man had done to the director. Why did the fat director's hand suddenly burn? Yiwu replied casually that although the director had the authority to expel them, he had hurt his family, so it could not be tolerated. So that was a small punishment for the greedy director. Yiwu asked the doctor not to worry because he was willing to pay an extra 10,000 yuan for their treatment and also for compensation. Yiwu also said that if only the director had good ethics like their doctor, nothing would have happened. The doctor smiled awkwardly at Yiwu's words. However, he actually thought that the cruel director deserved it. Moreover, the director was very arrogant and only saw profit in his eyes without having the slightest sense of humanity. The doctor hoped that the director would not dare to be evil again in the future. Yiwu shows the doctor an account and says there is 310,000 in the account, so can the family continue treatment. The doctor answered that of course it was allowed. The doctor even said that although the hospital is expensive, the hospital never cheats, so Yiwu's family will get the best treatment. Yiwu thanked the doctor for being willing to believe him and giving him time to collect the money. Yiwu honestly said he was very indebted to that doctor. The doctor asked Yiwu not to thank him because this was an obligation that a doctor had to do. In his heart, the doctor was increasingly amazed at the young man in front of him. Apart from Yiwu's very fast self-healing, the young man also managed to collect 300,000 yuan in a very short time. In his opinion, Yiwu was very interesting. After the doctor left, Yi Yunfei apologized to her brother because I couldn't protect their parents. The girl's body even shook to hold back tears, realizing that she was currently so weak that she couldn't protect their parents. Yiwu rubbed his sister's head and asked her not to blame herself. Yiwu actually said it was my fault for not managing to return on time and ultimately making them all suffer. Yi Yunfei cursed and regretted being poisoned. This girl said if only she wasn't poisoned that I could participate in the dungeon competition at her school tomorrow. Even though the girl really wanted to take part in the competition and win. That way I could use the bonus to improve their families' lives. But now I can't participate in the competition and still owe 300,000 yuan. Hearing about the competition made Yiwu excited. He asked if it was a competition held by the school every year. Yiwu heard that the bonuses given for the competition were very large. Yi Yunfei confirmed her brother's words. It is rumored that the bonus for this year will reach 500,000. Yiwu became even more excited when he heard that. Then this young man told his sisters to carry out the treatment calmly and leave the money in competition matters to me. Yiwu was determined to win and get that bonus. The next day on campus, all the students gathered in the very spacious main hall. The committee welcomes all students who wish to take part in their university's annual competition. There must be rumors about the large number of bonuses that will be received. This time the committee will make it clear that these rumors are true. This year's starting bonus reached 500,000. And according to the level of completion, additional bonuses will be added without any restrictions. Hearing this, all the students immediately cheered very happily. The committee then explained why this year there is such a big bonus. That's because there is a sponsor from the Manhwa group. Right after the organizers said this, Miss Mo appeared on stage with her two aides. The organizers asked everyone to applaud Miss Mo. Of course, all the students immediately cheered and applauded enthusiastically for Miss Mo and the Manhwa group. They praised Miss Mo's dazzling beauty. Then the committee enthusiastically announced that the final winner of the competition could immediately enter the Manhwa group without selection. Hearing this, all the students became even more excited because they knew that the group was in the top 10 on the dungeon score list. According to them, compared to bonuses, this is the biggest and most priceless gift. Some even say that entering the Mo group is the same as going to the top of the world. Yiwu, who was standing among the disciples, thought that he had long heard about the competition between the major groups being extremely fierce. But he just found out that the eldest miss wanted to choose a talented child from the university. Although it looked impatient, it didn't matter because Yiwu's main goal was the bonus. After that, the committee showed a giant hologram screen and informed all the students that the dungeon competition this time was a shadow forest which had an average monster level of 5-10. Some students were surprised to hear the name of the shadow forest, because that place is the highest level dungeon in their university, and it is said that the place was never successfully cleaned by the students. Moreover, the lowest monster in that place is at level 5. Meanwhile, the average level of students at that school is only 5. Yiwu actually thought that the final boss of the dungeon was a shadow tree elf whose tree monster level looked very terrifying because its size was towering like a tall building. Yiwu smiled happily seeing the monster because he had already thought about smelling the bonus money. The committee asked children not to worry because even though the dungeon is very difficult, the model also has two mechanisms, namely PvP and PvE. PvP means players can attack fellow players or fight with opposing teams, while PvE means player versus environment, which requires players to fight against monsters around the dungeon environment. Based on that, this competition will allow students to form teams with a maximum of 5 people. All the students cheered again because they felt they had a chance to win. They thought that if they could work together as a team, then a level 10 tree elf wouldn't be difficult to defeat. But on the other hand, there are some students who think that the method of fighting fellow players can be very difficult, so they had to guard against sneak attacks from other teams at all times. From all these methods, Yu drew the conclusion that the school wanted to train them in actual combat and survival skills. One of the students suddenly raised their hand and asked how to determine the winner if they were on the same team. The very eccentric principal explained that this competition was still collecting points for each individual, but the points obtained from defeating the tree fairy shadow would be divided equally within the team. So the tree elf has the highest points, so victory can only be achieved for the team that has attacked it. The principal also provided additional information that in order to make all students feel the atmosphere of a real battle, they could take the other team's points and make them their own points. But the majority of students immediately thought it was a very cruel rule, because it is the same as encouraging the desire to kill each other among fellow students. But the principal ignored his students' worries and immediately opened the dungeon gate while saying that the competition had started now. All participants were immediately busy looking for their team members. But as usual, no one wanted to be on the same team as Yu. They even mocked the young man as trash who was still allowed to participate by the school. They even cruelly asked the other disciples to be careful if Yu joined their team. Yu chose to leave the students who mocked them, thinking that even if they begged me in the future, I didn't want to be on the same team as those people. Besides, he didn't want the extra burden, so I thought it would be easier to travel alone. Yu immediately approached the female teacher and said that he wanted to register. The teacher asked where the young man's team was. Yu answered firmly that he was alone, so the teacher could immediately register me. The teacher was worried because the young man was only at level 3. She thought it was too dangerous to go alone, so she advised Yu to choose a partner carefully. Suddenly Luo Feng appears and tells the teacher not to pay attention to Yu. In my opinion, the young man is just trash, so the young man should go in there and be sacrificed. Two of Luo Feng's colleagues appeared and immediately told Yu to apologize to Luo Feng for yesterday's incident. They also provoked Luo Feng into beating Yu again. The blonde man said that Yu was once his older brother, so he would help so that Yu wouldn't be pushed around too much. So Luo Feng asked Yu to sleep on the ground and bark like a dog. If Yu was willing to do that, then Luo Feng was willing to take him into the dungeon. Luo Feng's two colleagues immediately laughed with satisfaction when they heard their boss's words. Unexpectedly, Yu asked how to bark. Luo Feng quickly imitated the sound of a dog barking. So after that, it was Yu's turn to laugh restrainedly. It was at this moment that Luo Feng realized his stupidity. Luo Feng quickly raised his arm and prepared to hit Yu who dared to trap him. But suddenly the registrar's teacher immediately blocked them. The female teacher said if they want to fight, then fight again dungeon, because they will not receive points if they fight in the school area. Hearing the teacher's words made the blonde man annoyed and finally suppressed his anger as he walked into the dungeon. Before actually entering the dungeon, Luo Feng turned to Yu and asked the black hair bleacher not to run away from me, because I would love to wait for Yu's head in the dungeon. This time, Yu casually said that there were no obscure words in his dictionary. After Luo Feng and his group entered the dungeon, Yu asked the teacher if he could get the entry card. The female teacher handed over a card while saying that Yu's courage was commendable, but in the end, he still depended on his strength of speech. Since Yu insisted on entering the competition, the teacher could only wish the young man good luck. After receiving his entry permit, Yu entered the dungeon with a serious face. This young man hoped he would have a very enjoyable show inside the dungeon. Just before Yu entered the dungeon, Miss Mo watched him carefully and realized that this young man was the person she met at the black market yesterday. In his opinion, Yu was very interesting because not only was this young man still at level 3, but he had dared to enter the black market and even dared to enter dungeon 5-10 alone. This beautiful woman was looking forward to what was behind Yu's courage. When he finally landed in the dungeon, Yu realized that the starting location of each team entering the dungeon was deliberately random. This is to prevent different teams from being in one place and avoid fighting early on. This was also an advantage for Yu. This young man immediately ran into the dungeon and killed several small spider monsters that appeared in front of him. Yu managed to get 10 points every time he managed to defeat a monster, but he was quite troubled because the area was too big and the monsters were scattered. In my opinion, clearing the monsters one by one takes more time than imagined. This young man realized that if he wanted to win, he had to kill higher level monsters. Yu tried to follow some small spider monsters that were creeping into the bushes. As they continued to be followed, they led Yu deeper and deeper into the forest. Yu was even more shocked when he looked around and found a red web belonging to a red spider. Moreover, above the net, there was a girl who was trapped. The girl named Ruin Tan Tan was unconscious. It seemed the girl had fainted since being captured by the red spider monster. Tianchen slowly opened her eyes, and when she remembered fainting after being attacked by a monster, the girl was suddenly shocked and looked around in panic. Only now did Tianchen realize that she had been captured by the spider monster. The girl tried to scream for help, but Yiwu climbed to the top of the tree where the girl was caught and immediately asked the girl to be quiet if she didn't want to make the spider monster come back. Tianchen was even surprised to see the appearance of Yiwu, a level 3 young man who couldn't upgrade. Tianchen asks how Yiwu got into such a dangerous dungeon. The girl immediately told Yiwu to go and save herself before the monster returned and attacked. But Yiwu replied that Tianchen was Yi Yunfei's good friend. If I fail to protect Tianchen, then Yi Yunfei will not spare me. Tianchen sincerely thanked Yiwu for her kindness, but she insisted on asking Yiwu to leave. In my opinion, Yiwu, who is still at level 3, couldn't possibly cut through the spider web and save me. Moreover, defeating a spider monster that had reached 8. Yiwu smiled when he heard that information. He didn't expect that the elite class spider monster had only reached level 8. Then Yiwu quickly burned the net in his hand until the entire net was charred. Tianchen was shocked to see that the net burned without hurting me. Yiwu then told Tianchen to go find a team because it would be very dangerous if the girl went alone. But suddenly, a drop of mucus fell on Yiwu's shoulder. The young man looked up and saw a red spider monster right above them. Yiwu quickly pushed Tianchen down to avoid the green slime that the monster spat out. Yiwu had to act very quickly because the slime was highly poisonous. The two of them fell on a huge spider web bridge. They both panicked and had difficulty waking up because they both fell into a lying position. While they were still struggling to get up, suddenly their bodies were both entangled in spider webs until they stuck very tightly to each other's bodies. In a state of panic like now, Tianchen could only scream frantically. The girl was afraid she would die now. Yiwu reminded the girl to calm down because if she kept moving, the bond between their bodies would also get tighter. Seeing the condition of his body now, Yiwu felt like he had been trapped by the spider that was possessing the egg. Yiwu knew he had the system, but even though his strength had increased, his experience in fighting was still too lacking. And his current condition is too deadly. He had to be more careful and work hard in the future. Suddenly, the red spider monster turned around, leaving the two of them. Tianchen thought that the monster had no appetite to see them, so they could survive. But Yiwu explained, according to the habits of red spiders, they would lay their eggs in the bodies of people they caught to produce offspring. But since the monster is gone, it means that the egg is probably not ready yet, and will return when the egg is full. Hearing this, Tianchen panicked and became even more hysterical. Tianchen continued to roar hysterically. She writhed frantically until it rubbed against Yiwu's sensitive area. The young man panicked because if they continued to be trapped like that, something dangerous could happen. Yiwu also realized, trapped with Tianchen too tightly, if forced to use the firepower of Emperor Kai Yan's account, then it would hurt Tianchen. Finally, Yiwu decided to cut the spider web manually. Yiwu tried to bite the net around her, but Tianchen misunderstood and thought that Yiwu wanted to do something strange to me at a time like this. Yiwu quickly reminded Tianchen to keep her imagination in check. Yiwu tried hard to break every net in front of me. He was thankful that the spider web wasn't poisonous and had just been removed, so it wasn't hard yet. At first, Yiwu tried hard to remove the net by himself, but then he forced Tianchen to help instead of just looking and making strange noises. Finally, the two of them worked together to bite the net around them so that it could be released quickly. They continued to argue throughout this process. Yiwu was annoyed because Tianchen bit him so often wrongly and kept making strange moaning noises. Even so, they were finally able to escape from the net. Tianchen cried with joy and felt very grateful because she managed to escape. Yiwu reminded the girl to stop crying and run immediately. Tianchen refused to follow Yiwu's instructions because my legs were still weak. Unfortunately, there was a noise coming from the bushes, which meant the giant red spider would be back soon. Yiwu asked Tianchen to go find a team, while this young man would face the red spider monster. A worried Tianchen asks why Yiwu wants to act like a hero. Even though Yiwu was a level 3 player, he had to think about his own safety too. According to Tianchen, Yiwu's life would end in a matter of seconds if he dared to fight the level 8 elite monster. So Tianchen wanted to invite Yiwu to run together. Yiwu smiled slyly and firmly said, "I didn't come to that place to become prey to be chased and run away. Its original purpose was hunting. Moreover, I had just been trapped and suffocated by a red spider web, so I wanted to take revenge on that monster." Yiwu walked to the source of the sound in the bushes while activating the flames on his arms. Finally, a red spider appeared before them. Tianchen panicked seeing such a big monster, but Yiwu still reminded the girl cruelly not to interfere or get in his way when fighting. Tianchen asked to be allowed to stay to help treat Yiwu's wounds because she was a level 5 doctor, but Yiwu didn't pay attention to what Tianchen said. Yihao created a huge flame to surround the spider monster's body, then slowly walked towards the monster in a relaxed manner. Wu said he would let out his anger because his family was hurt by the spider monster. Wu immediately took out his flame sword. Seeing that, the spider monster felt a sensation of danger, so it attacked Wu brutally. Wu jumped high enough to avoid the spider monster's attack. This young man even managed to ridicule the ability of the red spider monster, which was not comparable to the ghost eye demon spider that Wu had defeated before. That's because the red spider monster can't talk like the ghost eye demon spider monster. But Wu didn't care about that, because he didn't like hearing his potential victims beg for mercy. Then with one swipe of his sword, the spider monster's body split open, and it burned until it died on the spot. The power of Wu's attack was so powerful that it burned part of the forest. Tianchen was even stunned to see the scene before her. She didn't expect Wu to be able to defeat a level 8 elite monster with just one attack. This further strengthened Tianchen's suspicion that Wu could hide his level. The system appeared notifying Wu of successfully killing a level 8 elite monster, namely, and getting 1,000 points. He even got an extra prize of 5,000 experience points. Mr. Tianchen even got 500 X points for his participation. The girl was surprised to get quite a lot of points without doing anything. Of course, Ruin Tianchen is very happy now. The girl started to stick to Yihao and asked how the young man hit his level. Tianchen excitedly said that she already knew from the start that Wu was a genius who couldn't possibly level up. Tianchen kept clinging, hugging, and forcing Yihao to tell her secret. This girl even called Wu the great god to get her wish, but Wu continued to ignore the girl. Wu asked Tianchen to take it off, otherwise, Yihao would make the girl disappear. Wu honestly said he was already starting to feel regret for saving Tianchen. This young man cares more about points and achievements. Wu calculated, plus the 1,000 points from the dungeon, that the king system account had gained 5,000 experience points. So according to him, this is very cool. He could level up faster. Wu picked up the items dropped by the spider monster while saying to Tianchen that the girl had earned her points, but the items that dropped were not Tianchen's. So Wu wanted to take them all. Wu asked if Tianchen would mind. Tianchen replied that she didn't mind as long as Wu was willing to take her to the top. Wu observed each item. He saw a mysterious claw and picked it up. The system explained it was the damaged poisonous glands and tissue belonging to the spider monster, so Wu was entitled to get the battle item as a reward. Wu thought it was good luck. Although no equipment dropped, items like those spider fangs were in great demand on the black market and could be sold quickly. Suddenly the system notified that it had been randomly upgraded to. The effects of this item are that it can cause bleeding, provide poison, and weaken the enemy. Wu was surprised to see that the items dropped by the monsters could be upgraded. He remembered the ring that the ghost eye demon spider had dropped at that time. Wu looked at the ring in the inventory and wondered whether the ring was a legendary item. The system explained the item was a lucky ring that could trigger an effect by randomly increasing the level of the item obtained. Wu was happy that he had a good item that could help him upgrade the items he obtained in the future. Wu wanted to use the ring to equip his item. Wu advised Tianchen to do it alone and don't just look for opportunities. Wu firmly said he didn't want to be seduced. Tianchen replied she was sticking like that not to seduce, she was just scared. Only when near Wu would she feel safe. Tianchen called Wu the great god and suspected that the young man was disguised in front of all the students so that everyone thought Wu was trash. According to her, it was an amazing disguise. Tianchen continued to urge Wu to tell the young man's level. Tianchen was very curious about Wu's true level. Wu resolutely withdrew his arm and asked Tianchen not to ask any more questions, because Wu had his reasons and plans for doing that. If Tianchen still wanted to follow him, then the girl had to keep quiet and keep Wu's abilities a secret from everyone. Wu even threatened Tianchen if the girl revealed her secret. Suddenly several men appeared. They didn't expect that Tianchen was still alive and survived the red spider monster. Seeing the four men made Tianchen angry. The girl scolded Lai Yang and the rest of his team. Tianchen asked how could they still dare to come back and see Tianchen after what they did to that girl. Without any guilt, Lai Yang replies that he can go wherever he wants. After all, Tianchen had already been kicked from her team. They threw Tianchen out because they were annoyed that the girl kept babbling about love and magic all day long. If it wasn't because Tianchen was his classmate, Lai Yang wouldn't even bother to take the girl into their team. Tianchen pointed at Lai Yang's face full of anger. The girl said that Lai Yang didn't kick her from the team, but used her as bait to attract the attention of the red spider, while Lai Yang got scared and ran away with the rest of his team. So in his opinion, a man like Lai Yang has no right to laugh at other people's dreams. One of Lai Yang's team members finally realized that the red spider monster had lost and was on fire. They were shocked to see that the monster had been defeated even though Lai Yang and his entire team returned to attack the monster together. Lai Yong asks if Tianchen defeated the monster. Tianchen proudly confirmed this. This girl even said she had joined forces with the great god, Yiwu, to defeat the monster. In his opinion, Lai Yong was a despicable criminal who couldn't even use martial arts, so he couldn't possibly be comparable to Yiwu. Lai Yong and the rest of his team laughed when they saw that the figure called the great god by Tianchen turned out to be Yiwu. They laughed with satisfaction and said that the two lovebirds were perfect as a team, seeing that one was trash, and the other was famous for being stupid at school. The four youths were completely satisfied laughing at Yiwu and Tianchen. This made Tianchen furious. He didn't like Yiwu being laughed at like now. Lai Yong and his team were quite upset because they had lost 1,000 points for defeating the red spider monster, but they could find it elsewhere. However, now they believed that it was Ru and Tianchen who had killed the monster rather than Yiwu. Because of this, Lai Yong and his colleagues invited Ru and Tianchen to return to their team. They thought that Ru and Tianchen would be useful to them in the future. Just tetanus Ru and Tianchen firmly refused. She will no longer want to believe in the nonsense of Lai Yong and others. Lai Yong casually says that they need Ru and Tianchen to just lie down and they will win the fight against the monsters. They wanted Ru and Tianchen to return as bait because that was the greatest contribution the girl could make. Besides, if Ru and Tianchen follows Yiwu, she will only die who knows when. Ru and Tianchen became very angry and asked Lai Yong and others not to insult the great god again. However, suddenly a voice boomed. Ru and Tianchen was very frightened and immediately hugged Yiwu while asking what that voice was. Likewise, Lai Yong and the others immediately turned toward the sound. Lai Yong then explains that it was the roar of the Tyrannosaurus demon, which is an elite monster with 5,000 points. Lai Yong and the others are certainly happy to be able to find such a monster around them. He immediately asked all his friends to go hunt for this monster, which was much more profitable than the red spire. Yiwu immediately prevented those who wanted to meet the Tyrannosaurus demon because that was the same as courting death. Lai Yong certainly wants to know what the man means. Yiwu continues to say that with Lai Yong's current strength, he will only become food for the monster. Yiwu certainly didn't advise them to leave if only to give their heads to the monster. Of course, Lai Yong was very angry when he heard those words. He was ready to kill Yiwu first, but the other colleagues immediately restrained Lai Yong. They remind Lai Yong not to be influenced by small trash like Yiwu or they will lose their bigger prey. Lai Yong finally chooses to leave, but of course, he threatens Yiwu and says he will not forget what the man said to him. Of course, Ru and Tianchen, who was there, also shouted. He thought Yiwu was too good for them and asked them not to come back, crying to ask Yiwu for help later. After Lai Yong and the others left, Ru and Tianchen invited the man to go around and collect points from the little monsters, which would be much easier. Yiwu finally complied with the girl's wishes. However, the map they were on now was too big and the monsters in it were scattered and the points weren't that big. So, if Ru and Tianchen wanted to collect more points just from small monsters, then it wouldn't be enough for them. Ru and Tianchen finally wanted to know what Yiwu would do under such conditions. Yiwu has plans to follow Lai Yong and others. They will just sit back and wait for the right time to take advantage. Elsewhere, a Tyrannosaurus demon is preying on monsters that are smaller than it. Lai Yong and others who had arrived there could also see what happened, how the monster is fighting with other monsters. That caused the Tyrannosaurus demon to lose 15% of its blood, which would be an advantage for them. However, the other team members started to get scared. He could feel the aura of the demon Tyrannosaurus, which made him feel breathless. The man intended to invite Lai Yong to surrender, but of course, Lai Yong flatly refused. They consisted of 4 level 5 people who should be able to defeat a level 8 elite. The Tyrannosaurus demon was the only rare elite in the dungeon. The devil also certainly holds many unknown treasures. Of course, Lai Yong will not just give up. He encouraged everyone and asked everyone not to worry because he was in the team, so there was no need to be afraid of anything. Lai Yong is determined to work together to kill the demons so that they can enter the top 10 even if they don't kill the final boss. In his heart, Lai Yong still has other plans to find Yiwu and settle their affairs. He also hoped that Ru and Tianchen would take the initiative to hug him as a congratulation on his victory. In his imagination, he could see how Ru and Tianchen hugged him and Yiwu apologized to him for saying something wrong. It's nothing yet. Lai Yong already feels very happy and becomes even more excited. Lai Yong starts running towards the demon and gives the order to attack. They insisted on showing no mercy. However, while they were running, someone suddenly remembered. Tyrannosaurus demons should be black and green, but the one in front of them was red and black. Lai Yong certainly doesn't know what his colleague means. The man then suspected that the devil was angry. It was probably because of the previous battle between the demon and another monster. Of course, Lai Yong was annoyed because his colleague was late in telling him. Meanwhile, their whereabouts were already known to the devil. They suddenly decided to retreat and run. However, the demon attacked first with its huge tail. They were devastated and asked for help. With a burst of flames, the demon immediately burned the bodies of 2 people in Lai Yong's team. Of course, the man was quite shocked to see his two colleagues killed instantly. Wei Yong finally saw for himself the extremely cruel demon before his eyes. For him, it was too scary. However, Wei Yong is not afraid at all. Right now, even though the demon's attention was on him, he was still optimistic. Wei Yong has good speed and agility. At least, he could run away and run later if he failed to defeat the monster. Although, the hatred of such a demon would not disappear quickly. He plans to direct the demon's hatred towards other people. At that time, he immediately thought of Yu Wu, who happened to be close to him at that time. It was then that Wei Yong finally found Yu Wu and Ruin Tianchen. In his mind, he could see the two people walking leisurely while he was running as hard as he could until he ran out of breath. Ruin Tianchen, who saw Wei Yong's presence, immediately became suspicious. To him, he was just a cunning wolf who liked to run away. Ruin Tianchen immediately suspects that there is another sinister plan Wei Yong is currently trying to carry out. Wei Yong immediately confirms that he did not return empty-handed to meet the two. Ruin Tianchen was still a little confused at that time. Wei Yong said that he came to give a special gift. Yu Wu, who doesn't know what happened, thinks he will be able to take points easily from Wei Yong, who he thinks has succeeded in defeating the monster. In his mind, Yu Wu still thought Wei Yong moved so quickly because he wanted to make a direct attack. However, he became a little confused because Wei Yong's friends were not there. Wei Yong still runs past the two just like that and promises to tell them everything later. He pushed Ruin Tianchen's body and asked the two of them to look at the gifts he had prepared. Of course, Ruin Tianchen didn't understand what Wei Yong meant. But suddenly a groan was heard and the Tyrannosaurus demon was already there. Reflexively, Ruin Tianchen attacked the demon first. Of course, Yu Wu was angry because Ruin Tianchen attacked even though the demon was not angry with him. Ruin Tianchen had no intention of attacking the demon first. Now she could only run in fear towards Yu Wu and ask for his help. Seeing the incident, Wei Yong could only laugh at the girl's stupidity. For someone who had never entered a dungeon, what Ruin Tianchen showed was not at all disappointing and comforting to Wei Yong. Wei Yong also wanted to know what Yu Wu would do in such a situation. For Wei Yong, the trash and the idiot in one team is an interesting combination. Wei Yong also mocks and insinuates Yu Wu, who is not arrogant even though he has good fighting skills. For Wei Yong, the man should be grateful for giving the gift. Wei Yong finally chooses to leave and let Yu Wu fight the demon. He also said he would come back to collect Yu Wu's body after the Tyrannosaurus demon killed him. Yu Wu could hear Wei Yong's laughter gradually fading away. At that moment, Yu Wu immediately grabbed hold of the air. He certainly will not let Wei Yong go easily. A surprised voice sounded. Yu Wu continued again that he had just met the careless Ruin Tianchen. The girl's existence was completely worthless to him. However, compared with Ruin Tianchen, Wei Yong is more worthless. Wei Yong was certainly very surprised because it turned out that Yu Wu was able to find out where he was even though he had used a move to make himself completely invisible. Yu Wu casually said that Wei Yong's strength level was not high at all. After all, he was only invisible and not completely gone. For Yu Wu, the man could still be seen in her eyes through the body heat he gave off. Wei Yong was even more surprised because Yu Wu could feel someone's presence just by his body heat. Of course, Wei Yong still finds it hard to believe, but then he begs Yu Wu to release the man's grip on his neck. He reminded Yu Wu that he was the son of Yu Wu's uncle. Wei Yong also asks Yu Wu to immediately let him go because the demon Tyrannosaurus is getting more and more violent and could cause them all to die by then. Yu Wu disdains Wei Yong's words and immediately displays his immense power. Wei Yong was of course very surprised and didn't expect that a trash like Yu Wu could increase his strength to such a degree. Wei Yong, who realized Yu Wu's strength, immediately asked the man to join him as a team to kill the Tyrannosaurus demon. He admitted that he needed points and equipment. Of course, Yu Wu easily rejected it. In his opinion, Wei Yong is a shameless man. However, he said he would consider it if Ruin Tianchen, who was by his side, allowed it. Wei Yong immediately begged Ruin Tianchen, who was still scared. He was a classmate and he was also the one who brought Ruin Tianchen into the dungeon. At that time, Ruin Tianchen was impressed by Yu Wu's domineering attitude, which made her heart beat. At that time, Wei Yong begged again. He tried to seduce Ruin Tianchen by saying that she was a beautiful and kind girl. He still begs to be on the same team as Yu Wu even though Ruin Tianchen no longer wants to be on the same team as him. However, this time Ruin Tianchen has absolutely no interest in forgiving Wei Yong. She invited Yu Wu to leave there and leave the cruel man. Wei Yong still tries to plead and realizes that he should not use Ruin Tianchen as bait. He admitted guilt and asked to be given a chance. At that moment, the growl of the Tyrannosaurus demon was heard again. He had become very angry. Ruin Tianchen was confused about what to do. They were worried because the demon's strength was much greater than theirs. However, Wei Yong used this opportunity to make a move. He planned to kill Yu Wu with a deadly move that was full of determination. Well, that's all for this discussion. The next part will be very interesting, so if you're curious, wait for the next video. The previous part ends with Yiwu facing problems when Lai Yang comes to them with a Tyrannosaurus monster. However, even though this situation was very difficult, Yiwu managed to overcome it. However, unexpectedly, Lai Yang, who still had a grudge against Yiwu, stabbed Yiwu in the back. So how does the story continue? We begin the plot of the story. When Lai Yang tried to stab Yiwu's body, it turned out that the knife he was holding was blocked by a large sword that had been on Yiwu's back. Lai Yang became very confused because he had not seen anything there until now. Yiwu on the other hand became very angry because Lai Yang took advantage of such an opportunity to attack him. For him, Lai Yang is just someone who doesn't have the brain to think. Now that Lai Yang seems so determined to make Yiwu the target of the devil's wrath, he will no longer let Lai Yang off the hook. Yiwu finally kills the useless Lai Yang with his sword. In return, he can also seize all the prizes that Lai Yang had previously obtained. Yiwu got all the personal and team points from Lai Yang amounting to 5,000 points. On the other hand, Lai Yang's body, which he lost in the dungeon, will be returned to his original body at the university. Of course, Lai Yang is very angry and he promises not to let the man go easily. Yiwu also received other prizes in the form of a disappearing skill book and a poisonous dagger. Yiwu managed to defeat the enemy in PvP mode and had the opportunity to seize items and enemy equipment that could be exchanged. Yiwu looked at the list of loot he managed to collect, seeing that, in his opinion, Lai Yang is indeed worthy of being a rich second generation. Lai Yang, who is level 5, also seems to have good equipment. Yiwu looked at the hiding skill book which could allow him to get the disappearing skill which would last for 30 seconds and could be renewed. Apart from that, he also has a poisonous dagger that can deal a fatal blow to humans and can only be used once. Yiwu was happy that he could get 2 items at once at that time, something that had never happened to him before. Suddenly, a voice asked him to be careful. It was Ruin Tianqian's voice warning Yiwu about the demon Tyrannosaurus that was heading towards Yiwu. Yiwu saw the demon's movement very fast. The man knew the demon Tyrannosaurus was a signature creature of the Shadow Forest that was the only rare elite in that place. The devil has the fire attribute and he has an irritable or vicious character. Once a demon becomes vicious, all of its attributes will multiply and make it even more difficult to defeat. It was all that Yiwu read in books about reunification. Yiwu also remembered that if he encountered a fierce monster in the wild or dungeon and couldn't run, the thing he could do was clean himself and immediately sleep on the ground so he could walk better. However, so far the demon's attacks were not a problem for him. A Tyrannosaurus demon that is in an angry state will not drop any equipment or items even if it is killed. That means players have to kill him carefully so as not to make the demon even angrier. Yiwu found this very troublesome. However, Yiwu at least had enormous courage to stay there. Even if the Tyrannosaurus demon became ferocious, it would still have a way to defeat it. Yiwu immediately went to Ruin Tianqian to talk about his plans. The man asked Ruin Tianqian to listen carefully to his instructions. He asked Ruin Tianqian to prepare to appease the demon. Ruin Tianqian was of course a little confused about what these words meant. Yiwu knew that a doctor had a special skill to remove anger or violence. He asked Ruin Tianqian to prepare. The girl who was hiding in the tree trunk became doubtful, because even though she does have that kind of special skill, the levels that she and the devil have are very different. So, she will very likely fail to do so. Moreover, in such a short time, she can only use that special skill once. Yiwu knew that this skill would not necessarily work. He only asked Ruin Tianqian to follow his orders. He will also ensure his plan is successful by reducing the demon's HP to below 20%. Ruin Tianqian immediately understood, although in her heart she was still amazed by Yiwu's extraordinary strength and hand-fighting abilities. This strength was comparable to the members of a large professional team. Yiwu was still fighting with the monster demon. He knew that he could easily kill such a level 8 elite vicious beast, but it would be a huge loss for him if he fought with all his strength to kill the beast without gaining a single cent. He didn't want that kind of thing, let alone the Tyrannosaurus demon who was a rare elite, famous for having many treasures. He couldn't wait to see what kind of treasure the devil had. As soon as Yiwu succeeded in knocking down the monster's body, he immediately asked Ruin Tianqian to use the special skill he had. Ruin Tianqian started to take out her wand. With the combination of beauty and wisdom, in the name of love and magic, Ruin Tianqian will cure the devil. Hearing all the words and seeing Ruin Tianqian's movements, of course, Yiwu became a little annoyed because the girl seemed to want to show off. However, they were confused about the effects. Yiwu asked if Ruin Tianqian used the correct skills. The girl was also doubtful because she felt there was nothing wrong with the skill. However, on the other hand, the Tyrannosaurus demon turns out to be very small and adorable. Of course, Ruin Tianqian who saw it became annoyed because the devil had become so cute. On the other hand, Yiwu was annoyed but couldn't do anything about it. Ruin Tianqian was surprised that she could have such a calming effect on the Tyrannosaurus demon. However, on the other hand, Yiwu wanted to give the demon the final blow so he could get points and equipment and then go from there. At that time, Ruan Tianchen immediately hugged the devil and prevented Yu Wu from doing so. She asked Yu Wu not to kill such a cute demon. After all, the demon was a rare elite that would be better to keep as a pet. Yu Wu said that making the demon a pet was a good idea, so that in the future Ruan Tianchen will be the one responsible for the losses. He would kill Ruan Tianchen first and take all the points. Then he would also kill those rare elites and take their points. Yu Wu could kill 2 birds with 1 stone, and that was perfect. Yu Wu confirmed this to Ruan Tianchen. Frightened, the girl immediately came up with an idea. She felt points and equipment were much more important than the demon. The demon looked at Yu Wu innocently, but of course, the man didn't flinch at all. For him, the devil should know better than him about the rules of survival, where the strong will survive and the weak will be eliminated. Humans and monsters alike do not want to be devoured by the other. They can only strive to develop into the strongest. Finally, Yu Wu succeeded in killing an elite monster. He managed to get 5,000 points and Ruan Tianchen managed to get 2,500 points. The girl, who was previously crying, quickly became very happy after seeing the number of points she had obtained. She is very grateful for this achievement. On the other hand, Yu Wu, who saw it, could only be amazed to see Ruan Tianchen's drastic change in attitude. Yu Wu focused again on his achievements. He gets 50,000 XP points as a reward. Of course, Yu Wu was very happy because the number was much greater than the previous level 15 demon-eyed ghost spiders. This also seems to be influenced by the dungeon mode. Yu Wu logged into the account room system. He wanted to know where else XP points could be allocated besides increasing the relationship level. Yu Wu knew that his XP value had many advantages. That means to maximize the use of the XP value. He can use the XP points to increase the relationship level of the Qian Emperor account to level 20 by unlocking more accounts. He can also choose to unlock other assistance skills from the Qian Emperor to add to the completeness of his account. Yu Wu was curious whether he could open the next account at level 20. However, Emperor Qian was too strong, so he didn't know what surprises the account would bring him. However, he knows that he should not open an account carelessly. He can't play around. XP points should be used to increase the depth of the Qian Emperor's account, because no matter how powerful the attack, Yu Wu might still encounter an enemy that could not be defeated. In the end, he can be helped by special skills and a combination of various versions of tactics. Yu Wu chose to open the special panel now. He is at relationship level 12 and can unlock special skills, including camouflage, which can simulate the breath of a creature 1 time higher than his level for 2 minutes, crazy speed, which can release fire to burn and increase speed by 50% for 1 minute, and true eyes that can explore all creatures within a certain distance. Of course, Yu Wu didn't believe it because special skills turned out to be very expensive, but he was quite interested in the real eye skill that could make him see monsters all over the map. The skill can let him see the final boss hidden in the Shadow Forest. He decided to buy it. Yu Wu used 70,000 XP points to unlock the True Eye skill, whereas previously, Yu Wu almost gave up on finding the boss of the Shadow Tree Elf, which was very secret and had not been revealed so far. But now he has a new skill that emerged from the Tyrannosaurus demon. Now he is determined to kill the boss of the Shadow Tree Elf. At that time, Ruan Tianchen called him to show him something great. At first, he was a little confused, but Yu Wu thought it was just Ruan Tianchen's carelessness. However, the girl asked Yu Wu to look more carefully. The girl saw an egg and Yu Wu immediately knew that the egg was rumored to have a very low explosion rate. The unknown egg was an ordinary egg with a strange flower pattern on its surface. The eggs can be incubated with XP or just made into eggs for fried rice. Yu Wu of course didn't expect that the egg could be made into a fried rice egg. However, it is said that these super rare items can be hatched, and that is certainly more interesting for him. Yu Wu said that such a rare type of elite egg could be cultivated into a battle pet or mount. The degree of resistance as well as the effectiveness of the attack was terrifying. He could imagine Yu Wu riding the Tyrannosaurus demon mightily and domineeringly. That made Ruan Tianchen's heart beat fast. Just imagining it made Yu Wu happy and chose to keep the egg. Ruan Tianchen praised Yu Wu. He also apologized and thanked him. As if understanding where Ruan Tianchen was going, Yu Wu said that he did not plan to eat the egg, but instead gave the egg to Ruan Tianchen. Of course, Ruan Tianchen refused. She was really sincere with what she said, but Yu Wu seemed to have misunderstood her. Ruan Tianchen didn't want the egg at all. Meanwhile, in the university waiting room outside the dungeon, someone kept watching Yu Wu. Her guess was correct that Yu Wu was a special man, especially after she saw Yu Wu's performance against the Tyrannosaurus demon. She wasn't like someone with a level 3 surface. Then she asked the guards to summon and bring the head of the university to meet him. Girl had noticed that so far the copy system newly developed by Lao Lin was indeed easy to use, but it could only be used to monitor low-level copies. She hoped they could monitor the higher level or progress of the dungeon. This could help increase their group ranking. Finally, the man he had been waiting for arrived. He greeted Miss Mo and asked what the girl wanted. Miss Mo asked Chief Yan how many ranking points Yu Wu got from the dungeon. The man was certainly confused because as far as he knew, Yu-Wu was just a student who couldn't improve himself. Miss Mo was of course confused and wanted to hear more. Chief Yan then explained that Yu-Wu had already been at level 3 since entering the university. Initially, he was known as a genius student at the university. However, it turned out that after 3 years his level had not increased at all and he didn't know what problem was causing it. Miss Mo was of course confused. She thought that Yu-Wu was just disguising himself and hiding his true level. She wanted to know what Yu-Wu's true purpose was. This made him even more curious about the man. However, suddenly Chief Yan was surprised to see Yu-Wu, who was at number 3 on the ranking table. She was curious how Yu-Wu did it. Miss Mo then asked Chief Yan to announce the rankings in the dungeon. She also asked the man to publish information regarding the rankings of all the players. Chief Yan was shocked. He suspected that Miss Mo wanted to increase the difficulty of the dungeon. Even though the current dungeon mechanism is quite cruel, if the rankings were also published, then the students would start a civil war. He was increasingly worried about Yu-Wu, who might be surrounded. Miss Mo casually said that the real world would be even more cruel than a level 10 dungeon. She, as the representative of the Hanmo group, wanted to make sure to select the best talents. After all, Yu-Wu was not just any student. Chief Yan did not expect that Miss Mo would pay attention to Yu-Wu. She became curious whether the man was truly extraordinary. She also wanted to pay more attention to Yu-Wu's movements in the future. In the Shadow Forest dungeon, a man has been defeated. He is the team captain named Cheng Feng. He was angry because he felt betrayed. The man who killed him previously joined, but only to kill other people. This is very despicable. Meanwhile, the man who killed him could only laugh in disdain. He is the team captain named Luo Feng. As far as he knew, there were no rules regarding teammates. Cheng Feng was of course angry, but he couldn't do anything. On the other hand, what happened to Cheng Feng was the result of him not wanting to join Luo Feng. The man angrily asked Cheng Feng to return to the dungeon and report it to Chief Yan. He then stepped on Cheng Feng hard and even managed to kill him. He even got 2,000 points from it. A man named Zhang Yi immediately praised Luo Feng, who he felt led very well. It can even make them get points easily. Luo Feng regretted his fight with Cheng Feng a little because the man could become a member of a professional team in the future. However, he couldn't understand Cheng Feng's train of thought. For him, it was very boring to beat trash who wouldn't give him any pleasure except points. At that moment, the command system suddenly appeared in front of them all. The university finally revealed the ranking scores and player location information. They want to know what happened. Luo Feng casually said that it was very clear. The university thinks that the competition between them is less fierce. Therefore, they intend to increase the competition between them. However, that was what Luo Feng wanted. He can reasonably take other people's points. When he saw the rankings, Luo Feng was even more surprised because in third place was Yu-Wu with 10,000 points. Luo Feng was very surprised to see that the man was still alive and was even ranked 3. He wanted to know how Yu-Wu did it. Did Yu-Wu secretly rely on points from others? Whatever it was, Luo Feng was quite impressed because if that was true, then Yu-Wu was a man who should be praised for being so lucky. However, that luck would soon end as Luo Feng would take all of Yu-Wu's points. They were determined to go find and torture Yu-Wu in the trash. On the other side, a man who was the chairman of Zhu Tian's tomb ran over. He was scared because he was being chased by people who were like demons. However, an explosion suddenly occurred in front of him. Zhu Tian fell and he thought about how their team had previously gone to meet Yu-Wu to torture him. But now he is left alone. Zhu Tian was still surprised that Yu-Wu could have such great strength with only level 3. Zhu Tian couldn't escape at all because the street was covered with fire. Yu-Wu casually said that he didn't eat people. After all, from the start, Zhu Tian was the one who wanted to take his points. Yu-Wu waited to be killed by Zhu Tian. Zhu Tian was so annoyed because the man had killed all his team members before. But he still didn't want to lose to Yu-Wu. Ignited with emotion, Zhu Tian began to attack Yu-Wu. Yu-Wu felt attacked first as if forcing him to act cruelly. After all, for someone like Zhu Tian, it wouldn't make any difference whether he was a prophet or a devil. As long as he could gain points, then he would do it. Yu-Wu kills Zhu Tian and he reminds the man to bring more troops next time if he wants to defeat him. Yu-Wu killed Zhu Tian and managed to get 6,500 points and also took the primary recovery agent. Therefore, Zhu Tian's copy body had also been forced out of the dungeon. Ruan Tianchen immediately praised Yu-Wu as worthy of the title of Great God. Previously, 4 attacks from Zhu Tian and all his team members had been defeated by Yu-Wu. However, Yu-Wu regretted that from this attack, nothing interesting could be obtained except points. Yu-Wu started to think about the university that had already disclosed the ranking and location information of all the players, which was done by Miss Mo. He knew that Miss Mo did it on purpose to make the fight even fiercer, but it turned out that for Yu-Wu it was good entertainment. After successfully defeating all Zutina members, Yu automatically became first place with 22,500 points. Of course, Ruin Tianchen was so happy that she hugged Yu. Yu understood, but he reminded Ruin Tianchen not to get too excited because they might lose concentration and become careless. In my imagination, Ruin Tianchen had already imagined how she, a doctor, could get the first prize as well as a bonus after getting first place in the dungeon contest. Yu tried to shake Ruin Tianchen out of her delusion. That being the best also means that more people will hate you later. Yu started to pay attention to the system, and so far there were 3 teams left among them. Apart from Yu, there was Luo Feng and Zhang Yu's team there. Through the system, Ruin Tianchen also realized that the 2 teams were following them without doing anything. Yu was clear about Luo Feng's character. The man looked careless on the outside, but he was very careful. The man must have been hiding and keeping his distance to observe. Since Yu's performance was definitely beyond Luo Feng's expectations, he would enter unexpectedly. Once he calculated and had full confidence, he would jump out and kill Yu to then seize the points for himself. Hearing this explanation, Ruin Tianchen became angry. Luo Feng was very cruel because she was always trying to chase Yu. But I wonder what makes the man so determined. Yu said that Luo Feng was just trying to hide the fact about something that happened between me and my sister. But Yu chose to focus on increasing his concentration and finding the final boss in the dungeon. However, on the other hand, Ruin Tianchen was not sure because the Shadow Tree Fairy boss was integrated into the forest and had never been found before. The university uses the Shadow Forest for competitions. From the start, I was doubtful about the final result. Therefore, she tried to offer Yu to just use PvP to determine the winner. Yu was quite surprised to learn the conclusion the girl came up with. Of course, Ruin Tianchen was annoyed because Yu underestimated my intelligence because of my beauty. Yu then confirmed that it was because the dungeon competition was indeed a test to find out their PvP abilities. However, he did not plan to give up on finding the dungeon boss. By completing the Shadow Fairy Tree boss, they can get lots of items and XP points. So, Yu started to use real eye skills. Yu could see the entire Shadow Forest. Yu was quite satisfied with the skill's abilities, which had taken away 70,000 XP points from him. It was then that with his real eyes, he managed to find the Shadow Tree Elf. Yu was happy because he had a real eye for special skills, which was not at all disappointing. He finally managed to find the hidden final boss very easily. In both the real world and dungeons, he can use full power attacks combined with skills. This is a very powerful combination. Yu saw the flames he released earlier, entering the forest. The fire functions as a navigator to show the whereabouts of the dungeon boss. Yu was very satisfied with all his abilities. At that time, Yu immediately ran and asked Ruin Tianchen to come along because I managed to find the whereabouts of the final boss of the dungeon. He asked the girl to hurry up so that other people wouldn't get ahead of her. Hearing those words, of course, Ruin Tianchen became very excited. But he asked the girl not to speak too loudly so that no one else would hear. However, the girl's words were too late because not far from them, the other 2 teams could hear Yu's words. They heard that Yu had found the boss monster, but they were doubtful because it might be Yu's way of hurting and trapping them. Luo Feng, who saw Yu's attitude, felt so strange because the man looked different. Yu was a weak man and was often helped by others, unlike today. Another man then said that Yu could kill 4 people in one team before. They couldn't put up any resistance at all. The man wanted to know what move Luo Feng would choose. Luo Feng naturally had no other choice. He wants to be part of Mo's attack team. Of course, he had to take points from Yu's body. No matter what Yu would try to do, he would not be afraid and instead teach him a lesson. They all finally chased Yu and were determined to kill him as well as the final boss of the dungeon. However, while in pursuit, Yu's position suddenly disappeared from the system. Of course, he was shocked and confused about how a human could just disappear. Luo Feng thought that Yu had already learned a new skill. Other members then want to know what steps the team captain will take. That's when he saw Ruin Tianchen, who was still standing. He asked everyone to surround and capture him. Luo Feng was a little suspicious of Ruin Tianchen's attitude at that time. So, he was determined to follow Yu's game. At that time, Ruin Tianchen started to get scared. She tries to look for Yui, who just disappeared. Ruin Tianchen had been asked by Yu to be bait. Now the man disappeared directly. The girl was a little doubtful. Even though she knows that Yu asked me to lure Luo Feng and the others out, they probably won't be fooled so easily. However, how surprised Ruin Tianchen was that Luo Feng appeared. The man was provoked very easily. Luo Feng asked where Yu was, but on the other hand, Ruin Tianchen wanted to know what they were doing. Luo Feng didn't want to sympathize, so he asked again where Yu was hiding. Ruin Tianchen admitted that she didn't know. She got lost and couldn't find it on the map. Ruin Tianchen also told Luo Feng to look at the map. Luo Feng was of course angry because he thought he was being tricked by Ruin Tianchen. He threatened to kill the girl. Ruin Tianchen still admitted that I didn't know anything about Yu Wu's whereabouts. At that time, Ruin Tianchen started to worry. In my heart, she begged Yu Wu to show himself immediately. She had tried her best to restrain Luo Feng and company. However, suddenly the ground started shaking. They thought that an earthquake had occurred. However, suddenly a huge foot stepped on Luo Feng's group. They were still confused, but then quickly realized that it was the figure of the final boss of the Shadow Forest Elf Dungeon. They were all very surprised because unexpectedly they were in the nest of a dungeon boss that had never been found before. Others think that they only need to maintain the PvP points until the end to win the dungeon. Now they are confused about how to overcome this boss monster. Luo Feng excitedly said that they just needed to attack the level 10 boss monster. After all, there were 10 of them in total. Luo Feng asked everyone to form a line and he would block the attack. Luo Feng asked in his heart, was that the real reason Yu Wu lured them to that point? However, he didn't want to think about it any longer. For him, it wasn't that important. He was more focused on thinking about the reward he would receive if he succeeded in defeating the Shadow Tree Elf. Then as thanks, he would kill Yu Wu. Luo Feng started executing his plan. First, he would follow a simple method of strategy against the boss, namely targeting the attribute that was his weakness. Luo Feng immediately attacked the boss monster. On the other hand, all his colleagues also helped attack the boss monster from a safe distance. They attempted to attack to deal continuous damage to the monster's body. Ruin Tianchen, who was watching, couldn't help but be amazed at the professional teamwork. Everything looks very different from the temporary team formation. The famously arrogant Luo Feng was no nonsense since he could prove his abilities. The monster also slowly started to lose its HP. Ruin Tianchen was already so worried. She was afraid that if Yu Wu didn't appear, then Luo Feng and the others would succeed in defeating the boss monster. On the other hand, Luo Feng also looked confident. He was confident that he could defeat the monsters as long as they continued to carry out similar attacks with more courage. Considering the huge number of teams, plus Luo Feng's command, a level 10 boss for them should be very easy. However, suddenly the boss monster switched to using fear mode, which made him invulnerable. This means that all types of attacks will not work on boss monsters. Luo Feng announced to everyone that the boss monster had entered stage 2. Everyone started to panic because they didn't know what situation was happening at that time. None of them had the experience to face a level 2 Shadow Ghost Fairy boss yet. They were confused about what to do. The trees around them also started to move and turned into a huge army of monsters. The boss monster spread its power and activated the small monsters. Those who initially won in terms of numbers now no longer do. The monster has the lowest level of 7. At that time all the troops chose to flee, leaving behind Luo Feng, who of course still insisted on moving forward. He asked everyone to maintain their formation. Besides, right now all the monsters' hatred is only directed at me. He asked everyone not to mess around. However, they all chose to run away. This of course made Luo Feng very angry. At that moment, a monster suddenly caught Ruin Tianchen's body. The girl who was being lifted upside down could only scream for Yu Wu's help. Sure enough, Yu Wu appeared and immediately attacked the monster's body, making Ruin Tianchen's grip loose and causing the girl to fly into the air. Yu Wu quickly caught the girl's body. The man said that Ruin Tianchen's task was completed. He asked the girl to watch and run away from there if the situation got bad. On the other hand, Ruin Tianchen was very happy because she could help Yu Wu. Ruin Tianchen was very relieved to hear that. She admitted that she was scared, but was grateful to be able to carry out Yu Wu's orders. The man didn't mind this. He also apologized for using Ruin Tianchen as bait. He promised to give relief to the girl afterward. On the other hand, Luo Feng was annoyed to see that Yu Wu and Ruin Tianchen were busy talking. Luo Feng was of course angry because he realized that it was all Yu Wu's doing. The man deliberately led them toward the location of the boss monster and then casually waited for an opportunity to take advantage. Luo Feng said that what Yu Wu did was despicable. Not wanting to be outdone, Yu Wu said that he didn't plan to take advantage of Luo Feng at all, because he would be the one facing the boss monster himself. However, despite that Yu Wu praised Luo Feng's fighting abilities, the man had mature command and mental abilities. Luo Feng was naturally getting annoyed because it wasn't the time for him to hear Yu Wu's teasing. After all, he was aware of Yu Wu's abilities now, so he invited the man to collaborate. Luo Feng ordered Yu Wu to be the bait, but on the other hand, Yu Wu certainly wouldn't obey him easily. To him, Luo Feng was too confident. However, this made Zhang Yi angry and asked the man to get out of Luo Feng's sight or he would kill him. Yu Wu casually killed Zhang Yi immediately and obtained 8,500 points as a reward. Luo Feng, who saw it, naturally didn't believe it. How could Yu Wu, who was a former nephew, actually kill his troops at such a critical moment? Of course, Yu Wu didn't care. To him, Luo Feng and the others were just points that could be exploited. Luo Feng, who was getting angry, tried to kill Yu Wu. The man casually said that Luo Feng shouldn't be so hasty. Getting angry is not good, especially if someone doesn't have the strength. This can make people easily die on the battlefield. Yu Wu attacked Luo Feng's body and even made him fall on his back. The man became increasingly angry because he felt that he didn't need Yu Wu's advice at this time. He asked Yu Wu not to be arrogant because he would not be able to kill the boss monster alone. In the end, all the loot points that Yu Wu managed to collect would be in vain because he wouldn't get anything if he died at the hands of the boss monster. Yu Wu naturally disagreed. He planned to leave 1% of Luo Feng's HP so that the man could see with his own eyes how to take all the points and withdraw completely from the battle. Yu Wu started to show his moves and Luo Feng was naturally curious as to what the man would do. At that time, he attacked all the monsters as well as Luo Feng's remaining troops. They were all shocked when their points were taken away and were forced to lose the battle. Some asked Luo Feng for help, but he couldn't do anything either. All the power that the boss monster had previously scattered was absorbed again. But later, the boss monster's body evolved to become smaller than the size of a human body. Everyone was shocked. They suspected that the boss monster had reached the third form and the final evolutionary form of its body. This makes them even more worried. Ruin Tianchen could see that the Shadow Forest fairy beast had already reached its final form. However, even though it was smaller, the monster was stronger. She hoped that Yu Wu could be careful. The monster moved very quickly, making it too difficult for Yu Wu to keep up. The monster's speed had increased and it didn't look like a level 10 monster. Plus, even though its body had become smaller and its speed had increased, the monster's strength had not weakened either. If ordinary players fought him without a strategy, then they would lose because it was too difficult to kill him. Luo Feng, who was watching from a distance, could only laugh in satisfaction. He told the man to throw away his ego, saying he could kill the boss monster alone. Luo Feng said that with the boss it would be very easy to crush Yu Wu into dust. Yu Wu still casually said that he had no problem with it. There were many ways he could kill a level 10 boss monster like that. The mainstay attack is not that complicated. No need to focus on attacking weak points. He just needed to increase the fire. At that time, Yu Wu managed to kill the boss monster and got 10,000 points as a reward and another 10,000 points as a bonus for being the first killer in the system. With that, the Shadow Forest dungeon has been completed and the number of surviving players is 3 people. The portal finally opened and Yu Wu, Ruin Tianchen and Luo Feng were able to leave the place. Lu Feng was of course very surprised and confused to see Yu Wu being able to kill the boss monster in a matter of seconds. He couldn't even believe that the Yu Wu he saw was the Yu Wu he knew before. Yu Wu casually said that one only needed to be strong to be able to kill such a monster. Yu Wu had completed his mission and now it was Luo Feng's turn. Luo Feng was of course scared because he thought Yu Wu was going to kill him. He said that Yu Wu was very strong and should not care about weak people like him. He also promised not to look down on Yu Wu again. From now on, he will be your brother and they can forget the past. Yu Wu naturally didn't believe that Luo Feng still had the face to say such words. For Yu Wu, Luo Feng did not meet the qualifications to be a brother at all. Luo Feng was getting even angrier because the man's facial expression seemed to be mocking him. Ruin Tianchen was annoyed at Luo Feng who used the opportunity to sneak attack, but that definitely wouldn't work for Yu Wu. Luo Feng of course wasn't sure. He suddenly disappeared and it turned out that Luo Feng who had been in front of the two was a puppet card. Meanwhile, the real Luo Feng was already standing at the door and saying goodbye to Yu Wu. Luo Feng mocked the man who, although strong, had too little dueling experience. Ruin Tianchen was naturally worried that the man would run away. Meanwhile, Luo Feng said that he wouldn't give up his points to that guy easily. Yu Wu said that experience was not important at all compared to the comparison of strength between the two. He attacked Luo Feng from a long distance. Of course, Luo Feng, who was hit, could only curse before finally being defeated. Yu Wu managed to kill him and got all his points. He also gets an item in the form of an active card to copy himself into a doll that can be manipulated freely. The remaining number of players from the dungeon was 2 people with Yu Wu who had a score of 62,000 points and Ruin Tianchen who had 21,000 points. Of course, Ruin Tianchen was very happy because she could get that many total points from the dungeon. Even from the calculation ratio, only 1/10 can be very lucky to get that many points. Yu Wu said that he would immediately disband the team when he left the dungeon. So, he would take the 500,000 point reward for himself and Ruin Tianchen couldn't protest. Ruin Tianchen wouldn't comment at all because I was very satisfied with what I got. She thanked Yu Wu for bringing me along and even making it through to the end. Seeing Ruin Tianchen's response, Yu Wu was also happy. It seemed to him that the girl was not greedy at all. Even though she is a cute person, your mentality remains positive. After completing the dungeon, Yu Wu got 50,000 XP points and 20,000 money, including 20 trunk properties of the Shadow Tree Fairy, 10 skins from the trunk of the Shadow Tree Fairy, and Magic Crystal level 10. He also got the gem enthroned by the Heart of Nature with its function of increasing the healing. In the previous part, Yu had quite a hard time fighting one of the platoon commanders, but it seemed he could handle him quite quickly. On the other hand, Miss Mo received threats from a mysterious man who wanted money. Curious about what's next? Let's get started. Feeling intimidated by Miss Mo's attitude, the mysterious man immediately stood up and walked away from Miss Mo. In his opinion, an elegant figure like Miss Mo is not worthy of saying such things to tease me. Commander Black Tiger will give the woman a chance to think before speaking and rephrase her language better. But Miss Mo immediately answered that it was not necessary. In his opinion, the Hanmo group will not be led by animals, let them destroy their own greatness. Even Miss Mo's life was not worth it in front of the higher-ups of the Hanmo group. Miss Mo admitted that she had been careless today, but that killing me would not destroy the Hanmo group. The Black Tiger commander immediately drew his sword after hearing the woman's words. Now he doesn't care about all the nonsense from Miss Mo. Then quickly the mysterious man wanted a sword and was going to send Miss Mo to hell. But just before the Black Tiger commander's sword touched Miss Mo's body, a protective barrier appeared that immediately surrounded the beautiful woman's body. Everyone in the room was shocked by the appearance of this very strong protective energy. Suddenly from the entrance, a young man said that the protective energy was just a favor for Miss Mo for helping him with elder lieback in the black market. Yu, standing casually at the door, said but everything had to be equal, so this time he would charge separately. If later Yu manages to save Miss Mo's life, then I will ask for 10 million as a bonus. Miss Mo was actually surprised to see the young man come to save me. This beautiful lady asked what Yu was doing in that place. But before Miss Mo's words could be answered, the commander of the Black Tiger group had already jumped toward Yu with 2 swords ready. But fortunately, Yu managed to block the mysterious man's attack with his flame sword. Although the commander was shocked by the young man's abilities, he was curious how great Yu's defense would be if the commander attacked with all his strength. Yu was actually also surprised by the commander's ability. Even though he had faced level 40 some time ago, after facing someone who was a slightly different level above him, Yu already felt that the commander's ability could kill him. Yu knew that he couldn't make the slightest mistake, and if he wasn't careful, he would only end up dying at the hands of that commander. Seeing that Yu was getting more and more desperate, the lady asked Yu to go save her. Even though the young man was quite capable of fighting, this matter had nothing to do with Yu. Miss Mo even asked, how is it possible someone as close to death as Yu still has time to care about others? Meanwhile, several Black Tiger members who were still in the room continued to shoot the protective energy surrounding Miss Mo. The consecutive attacks from those people succeeded in reducing the man's protective energy to almost 30%. But Yu still asked Miss not to worry. If the non dies, then Yu will have no place to collect the points and bonuses he should get. Seeing Yu's determination made Miss Mo even more worried. This beautiful woman knows Yu is the type of person who wants money but is not stupid. Miss Mo realized that it was because of this that Yu dared to enter the black market alone. While Miss Mo was focused on worrying about Yu, the Black Tiger members were shocked when they saw the protective barrier energy figure reach 100% again. The Black Tiger commander was sure that Yu had come prepared and had rare items. The commander was even sure that the young man in front of him was not level 4. He was curious about where Yu came from, and why was that young man able to hide his strength. Now Yu tried to attack the commander. According to him, the commander not only had a high level but was also careful. Yu even said that compared to 5 ordinary people, the commander's brain was better. Actually, Yu used the ability of Crazy Moss to combine 3 protective energies into one and got 3 times the armor value. But the effect of that power was a little strange. Suddenly there was an explosion from outside. The commander naturally panicked and was worried about his members. But before he could give the order, several grenades were also hit in the room. The commander thought it was a high explosive grenade. That's why he created a shield of quite large energy. However, when the grenade exploded, they still couldn't do anything because the grenade released a red web from the spider monster. The net was very strong and could even devour the HP of several Black Tiger members. The commander Till was surprised to see such a tool because he had never seen a tool like that. Yu played with one of the grenades in his hand, saying that it was not an ordinary grenade. It was his work grenade called Sticky Bondage. The grenade uses Ghost Eye and Demon Spider Silk. So the grenade produces a sticky bondage that can restrain the target's movement for 10 minutes and cause continuous damage. However, in the end, the commander was able to destroy the net that bound him with his considerable strength. The commander refused to be defeated by relying on toy items like Yu's creation. The commander imbued his sword with the power of lightning and said that he would show how adults fight. Yu also took a standby position while holding a shield in his left hand and a sword in his right. This young man just discovered that the properties of low-level materials would not work on high-level fighters. The commander was the first to take steps to attack Yu and was determined to send the young man away to heaven. One blow from the commander managed to reduce Yu's HP by 50%. Yu noticed that the commander's speed and strength had increased. If it continued like this, then he would really die at the hands of that commander. But Yu thought about slashing the commander twice at a fairly close distance. He thought of doing it so that the commander wouldn't have time to drink the recovery fluid. But when Yu swung his sword, the commander managed to dodge it very quickly. The Black Tiger commander even mocked Yu because his movements were too slow. Even the mysterious man mocked Yu's weapon as a kitchen knife. When the commander counterattacked, the mysterious man's extremely powerful attack managed to destroy Yu's shield and lowered his HP by 10%. The system warned that Yu's HP was lower than 10% of the Nirvana defense talent limit. Yu realized that the HP lock had been activated, so it was time for him to decide the outcome. Yu tried to deal the final blow to the commander by creating a fire dragon from magic. Even so, the commander managed to repel the magic and said that if he was hit by Yu's low-level magic, then he didn't deserve to be at level 45. At this time, the lady asked Yu to run away again. Miss Mo was really worried that Yu would die if he continued to be pushed like this. Yu answered that it was impossible for him to escape, and he asked the miss not to speak anymore. Yu still refused to lose because he still had his next show. This young man stuck his sword into the floor, creating a fairly large firestorm around the commander. The Black Tiger commander was not afraid at all to see such a huge firestorm. He even asked if that was Yu's only skill. The commander even suspected that Yu was there just to be funny. But because the time for playing around was over, the commander couldn't wait to kill Yu immediately. With lightning speed, the masked man ran towards Yu. But suddenly he was shocked when he received a series of attacks from a very large firearm. The commander knew it was his deputy's weapon. With this, the commander knew Yu had killed his deputy because the deputy's weapon was already Yu's. The commander tried desperately to block the fire from this very powerful firearm. Yu asked the commander not to get carried away by making a fuss about obvious things like the death of his deputy. But now the weapon is not called but called. The weapon now has support turrets and special effects to automatically track its targets. The weapon level is raised to 40 and the ammunition is unlimited. Yu smiled with satisfaction seeing that the commander was so overwhelmed with the attacks from his homemade weapons. Yu explained that the gun turret was made from an epic weapon, so did this weapon he made manage to surprise the commander. Meanwhile, the commander's protective shield was finally unable to withstand the attack and was destroyed. Finally, the commander ran in all directions to avoid the weapon attack. But the weapon continued to follow his movements and annoyed him because the firing speed of the weapon was very fast. According to him, the key to this weapon attack is the special effect of unlimited bullets, which always makes things difficult for the commander. Moreover, after being modified by Yu, the weapon had the ability to follow him automatically. The commander thought, is this kid in front of him taking advantage of the situation? In his opinion, Yu should have sacrificed most of his HP first before creating that weapon. But in his opinion, Yu only had one chance left. While running towards the weapons, the commander admitted that Yu's abilities were enough to surprise him. However, because the flexibility of the firearm was removed, it made it a permanent target. In his opinion, Yu's decision was really stupid, because he had wasted an epic weapon. Finally, the commander managed to destroy the weapon with just one attack. But suddenly, Yu was behind him and said the real show had just begun. Just as the commander was about to look back, he was attacked with a dagger that had a special effect. The dagger is called Improved Poisoning First. The dagger has a one-hit special effect on humanoid creatures within a certain level. The lower the target's HP, the higher the chance of triggering the special effect. The commander immediately fell and coughed up blood due to the impact of the heavy attack. Due to the attack this time, the commander's HP decreased by 5%. At this moment, Miss Mo realized that even the sneak attack of the backstab could not deal high damage because the level difference was too big. So the beautiful woman was sure that the commander's serious condition must be due to some special effect of his dagger. Commander Black Tiger immediately activated the Guardian Seal to heal his wounds and restore his HP. This could make someone passively immune to the special effects of some weapons. This item is also able to restore 30% of HP volume. The commander felt lucky, but he was also annoyed because he bought this item at a high price. While the commander was recovering, Yu attacked him again and asked the commander not to blame him because the commander was just wasting the special effect of his own weapon. While they were fighting fiercely, the system reminded Yu again that the HP lock time would end in 5 seconds. At this point, the commander complained because he thought the transaction could be completed easily. But unexpectedly, there was a bully like Yu who was very detrimental to him. The commander swung his weapon again and was determined to kill Yu and Miss Mo at the same time to earn some extra money. Yu's body was thrown far away until it hit the wall. At this time, the passive skill to lock HP has ended, so Yu had to restore the volume of his HP quickly to avoid anything bad. Meanwhile, the commander took a large injection of the potion and said that he had indeed been careless because he underestimated his enemy. The commander did not expect the snotty kid in front of him to be so strong, so the commander had to cast a secret technique to avoid failure. Then with all his strength, he stuck a very large injection in his own neck. Due to the effects of the potion, the commander's entire body suddenly emitted lightning that dazzled the eyes. The potion the commander used turned out to be the blood of Thunder Beast. This epic item can activate Thunderstorm electric armor into a Thunder Beast, which will increase various abilities and attributes for a short time of 5 minutes. After use, it becomes weak for 30 days. Yiwu just realized that this was what his report looked like when facing high-level players. Not only can his tactics change, but it turns out this young man also can't predict his opponent's combat abilities and tools. Yiwu was truly driven to despair and almost lost everything. Miss Mo also knows that the Black Tiger group has various rare items. Miss Mo regretted a little that she didn't spend more time clearing the dungeon and getting rare items. After his transformation was complete, the commander said the epic item he got was 56 times stronger in the Thunder Mountain Canyon dungeon, but he didn't expect to use it against the brat like Yiwu. After the lightning and dust covering his body completely disappeared, it was now clear that the commander's body had turned into a monster that looked like a giant lizardman. With his terrible voice, the commander asked Yiwu to show all the tricks he had up his sleeve. Unexpectedly, Yiwu raised both his arms and said that he had no more tricks up his sleeve. This young man casually said that his last attack had just been exhausted and was blocked by the commander earlier. The commander cursed angrily because he felt like he was being played by Yiwu. The monster immediately rushed towards Yiwu, saying that he should not waste his precious special item. Just as the monster was preparing to cut Yiwu's body, suddenly its 2 large arms were held back by Miss Mo's special forces. No wonder Yiwu had been so relaxed since earlier, even though the monster was so eager to kill him. The monster was shocked to see that the 2 high-level fighters managed to escape from Medusa's eye skill. Even though the skill effect disappears, it still takes a long time. Yiwu explained that when the commander said that the reason the 2 special forces froze was the eye of Medusa, Yiwu was outside the door of his room and heard all their conversation. The commander was shocked to realize that Yiwu opened his treasure chest and took the tears of Medusa to heal the 2 guards who had been turned into statues. When the monster was about to rampage Yiwu, the 2 guards immediately hit it with a special attack that pushed the monster's body quite far. The special guard's blow was so strong that it knocked the monster's body flying and destroyed several walls behind it. Yiwu was shocked to see the strength of a level 60 player. This young man felt goosebumps standing near Miss Mo's 2 special guards. After Miss Mo was free, she immediately approached Yiwu and asked if from the start the young man knew the trick to get rid of the Eye of Medusa effect. Then why didn't Yiwu remove the petrification effect of Miss Mo's bodyguard from the start? And why did Yiwu fight to the end? This actually made people worry because it put Yiwu's own body in danger. Yiwu answered that he had thought about that possibility from the start, but now he had the confidence to win. That's why he wanted to fight as hard as he could to defeat an opponent of a much higher level. For him, it was a very valuable practical experience and one that money could not buy. Miss Mo was surprised and said that she had seen many people, but this was the first time she met someone like Yiwu. With full confidence, Yiwu said that it was also a valuable experience for Miss Mo. So the lady doesn't need to thank you. But as agreed at the beginning, Yiwu still asked for 10 million, not less. So Miss Mo has to add an extra gift of 500,000. After all, Yiwu was number 1 in the dungeon contest. Miss Mo asked Yiwu not to worry because the amount was not much to him. At this point, Miss Mo realized Yiwu was just an ordinary person who wanted money but not life. He thought that this kind of person really aroused his appetite. Mrs. Guards came carrying the sea commander's body, which was already very weak, and asked what they should do with that person. Miss Mo replied that the man was worthless, so she asked Yiwu to deliver the final blow so that the man's equipment and experience would be his. Without hesitation, Yiwu took out his sword and thanked him as he plunged his sword into the commander's battered body. Just before his death, the commander had said that the monsters outside the safe zone were secretly gathering strength. The man was sure that sooner or later the safe zone would fall to hell. Hearing the Black Tiger commander's words, Yiwu asked what was meant by the appearance of monsters and the fall of the safe zone. Miss Mo explained that it was just a conspiracy theory that had been circulating for a long time in the darkness of the safe zone, so Yiwu didn't need to bother thinking about it. Then Miss Mo invited Yiwu to join my group. With Yiwu's abilities and his services in saving the lady, the young man was qualified to join. Before that, Yiwu asked if they could talk about some benefits. After that, this young man will decide whether he will join or not. Hearing this, Miss Mo smiled and asked whether the young man thought that the Hamo group would not be able to provide him with abundant benefits. Yiwu explained that he was just more careful and he did think more before making a decision. Suddenly, Miss Mo's 2 special guards grabbed Yiwu's shoulders and said it was Yiwu's honor to receive Miss Mo's invitation. So the young man should have paid attention to your identity before making a request. Miss Mo immediately told the 2 guards to get rid of Yiwu. The beautiful girl said Yiwu had saved my life, so I don't have such rules. Miss Mo told the 2 guards to go see the condition of the other students and not let any other Black Tiger members remain. Before the two special guards left the room, Yu told them to leave some Black Tiger members for him because they could produce gifts for Yu. After the special guard left, Miss Mo sat on a sofa and said that Yu was someone who liked money. Yu confirmed this and he didn't expect that the lady would accept him as someone who was greedy for money. Miss Mo explained that in this cruel age, as long as one was strong enough, beauty, money, and power would be within reach. This is the law of nature, so you don't need to hate things like that. And according to him, people with the same desires have extraordinary qualities. Yu didn't understand what the miss said at the end about quality and similarity. Miss Mo brought her face closer to Yu and stroked the young man's cheek while explaining that it meant that everything could be driven by desire and Miss Mo was able to provide everything people wanted. At this point, Yu realized that the woman before him was more dangerous than he thought. After the incident with the Black Tiger group, the principal personally came to see Yu and expressed his thanks because the young man had saved Miss Mo and the entire academy at the same time. Humbly, Yu said that he couldn't let evil people do whatever they wanted in their academy. After all, the principal's teachings were always in his heart not to lose a strong heart just because he had a little weakness. As long as a person remains strong in his heart, miracles will always happen. Hearing this, the principal became very excited and loudly said that Yu deserved to be called a genius and a shining child in the academy. Even though the young man didn't seem to have improved his level in the past 3 years, the young man must have worked hard. The principal excitedly said he would give great academic achievements and some special awards to Yu. The principal immediately ordered Secretary Wang to gather the school's teachers and students. The principal wanted to explain this accidental attack, and more importantly, he wanted to give special credit to Yu for his bravery. Yu asked the principal to do it another day because now everyone was still in shock and there were more who needed to be comforted and needed rest. With a smile, Yu said that he didn't need any special rewards as long as the exchange of transcript bonus points and first prize bonuses were given on time. The principal emphasized that with more than 90,000 copies of Yu's points, plus 500,000 additional rewards, the nominal value is only more than 1.1 million. According to him, the nominal amount was too small and not comparable to Yu's achievements. Even there was no shortage of special awards in his opinion that were not worthy of repaying Yu. In the end, Yu could only surrender in the face of the principal's determination. Because he felt that there was nothing more to do or discuss, Yu said goodbye to the principal. Before that, the principal announced that the academy would be closed for 3 days starting tomorrow, so Yu should use the opportunity to have a good rest. The moment Yu stepped out of the room, the school thought that the young man was truly a true hero. An inconspicuous young man on an ordinary day can do things that turn out to be truly extraordinary. The principal asked Secretary Wang to ask the finance department to prepare 2 million and an item that had to be prepared within 3 days. Then the principal himself would personally hand over all the gifts to Yu. Yu immediately went to the hospital again to check on his family. This time, Yu's father was able to sit and laugh with them again even though his body was still weak. The mother and Yunfei asked the father not to be too excited and to lie down to rest more. From his younger sister, Yu heard that his father could only be recovered slowly, which means the father had to endure the pain for a long time. This young man wondered, is there any medicine to speed up his father's healing? The Yunfei suddenly asked Yu what about yesterday's dungeon contest. Did his older brother get a good ranking? Before Yu could tell, Dr. Hao entered the room. The doctor entered with the hospital dean. The dean had just returned and he heard what happened to the Yu family, so he immediately came over and wanted to see the Yu family. Dean Zhang said that he came to apologize to the entire Yu family about Director Fan's attitude. He felt embarrassed that the director could not follow medical principles and behave properly. Yu welcomed and expressed his thanks to the dean. The young man did not forget to apologize for acting impulsively. Yu again said that he would compensate Director Fan for the fat director's medical expenses. Yu acted like this because he realized that it was very difficult to make a direct apology, especially from a high-ranking person like Dean Zhang. After saying that, Dean Zhang immediately turned around and asked them all to rest well. Before the old dean left the room, Yu asked him to stop because he wanted to ask if the hospital had any quick cure medicine for his father. Dean Zhang answered that he had already learned about Yu's father's situation beforehand, and if they wanted the father to get better soon, he needed to use a special medicine. Although the hospital had an antidote, it was very expensive because it was such a great medicine. The father immediately asked Yu to stop thinking about it because he was fine. The father said that he just needed to rest and there was no need to spend money on expensive medicine. But Yu said that price was not important. While the hospital had it, Yu would immediately swipe the card in his hand for the medicine. Seeing the card in Yu's hand made the dean immediately. Dean Zhang knew very well that it was Miss Mo's black card. Dean Zhang immediately asked how Yu got the card. With honesty and an innocent face, Yu noted that the card was given directly to him by Miss Mo from the Hanmo group. Yu asked if the card couldn't be used in that hospital. Dean Jiang immediately smiled and said that the card was free to use at all Hanmo Group properties. Dean Jiang immediately asked Dr. Hao to quickly take 3 special antidotes from their safe, then move the esteemed patient to the most expensive VIP room in their hospital. Dr. Zhang immediately followed the Dean's orders obediently. On the other hand, the entire Yu family was confused by Dean Jiang's attitude. So Dean Jiang quickly explained that their hospital was also an industry of the Hanmo Group, so seeing it was like seeing Miss Mo herself. Because of this, the Dean became very friendly. The Dean also apologized for being slow earlier, and the top 3 bidders would be given to the Yu family as gifts. Hearing that, Yu Wu immediately looked at the card in his hand and he didn't expect it to be as powerful as it was now. Yi Yunfei immediately approached his older brother and asked how his older brother had the black card of the Hanmo Group's eldest daughter. What happened between the two of them? Yi Wu replied that it was a long story. He would tell his little sister more if Yi Wu had the chance later. Suddenly Dr. Hao came into their room in panic. Then they told Dean Jiang that all the valuable medicine they had was lost. Everyone in the room was shocked to hear the news brought by Dr. Hao. Yi Wu thought about this matter carefully and concluded that the person who stole the medicine in the hidden safe must be an insider who knew where the safe was and how to open the safe. Yi Wu immediately guessed that the person who stole the precious medicines must be Director Fan. Dean Jiang asked if Dr. Hao knew who the perpetrator was who had stolen the medicines. Dr. Hao answered that he had checked the CCTV money and found out that it was Director Fan who had stolen the drugs. Dean Jiang was immediately furious. He vowed not to forgive Director Fan. Dean Jiang regretted in his heart that he had taken Director Fan back to the hospital. The Dean quickly apologized to all the Yu family members for not being able to do their job well. The Dean said he would take special care of Yu Wu's father. Although it cannot be cured immediately, it can also speed up Yu Wu's father's recovery rate. Yu Wu explained that it was no problem. This young man asked the Dean where he could get the precious medicine besides the hospital. The Dean answered the top bidder is the top type of display item. It was priceless. Normally they could go to the auction house to try their luck, but Yu Wu could go and ask Miss Mo, because Miss Mo always has it, because the medicines in the hospital are also supplied by the Hanmo Group. Yu Wu thought although it was simple and easy, Yu Wu had already taken 20 million from Miss Mo. So if he went to ask for medicine again, it seemed too bad and Yu Wu's impression might fall. Yu Wu was sure that the director's fans stole the drugs to earn money, and if he wanted to sell them, the black market was the only option. It seemed like Yu Wu was going to the black market again. Yu Wu told the Dean to take care of his father. The Dean is certainly willing. The old man even bowed while apologizing for not being able to help much. Dean Jiang immediately asked Dr. Hao to move the patient to a VIP room equipped with the best treatment. Before they did that, Yu Wu thanked Dr. Hao personally. Because of this doctor, their family gets the best care. According to Yu Wu, Dr. Hao should be respected even more. Dean Jiang immediately agreed when he heard that. He could also see Dr. Hao's work professionalism and good character. Because the position of hospital director was currently vacant, Dean Jiang immediately appointed Dr. Hao to be the director. Dr. Hao obviously couldn't refuse and didn't forget to thank Dean Jiang's kindness. As Yu Wu stepped away from the room, Dr. Hao expressed his thanks for the young man's help. Before actually leaving, Yu Wu asked his father to rest well in the hospital and left the matter of the antidote to him. Yu Wu's parents were very worried about their son going on a trip and spending a lot of money, but Yi Yunfei excitedly asked how did his older brother conquer a rich woman like Miss Mo in one day. Yu Wu was shocked to see the expressions of all his family members. This young man asked what kind of man he was. Yi Yunfei noticed his brother's very nervous expression, so she planned to find out the relationship between his brother and Miss Mo. So Yi Yunfei raised his hand excitedly and said that she wanted to join Yu Wu in finding the top bidder. But the older brother said he would do it himself and asked his younger sister to rest in the hospital. Because his older brother refused, Yi Yunfei immediately showed a sad face that was swimming with tears. This girl said that she was almost resty in the hospital, and she still hadn't heard her older brother's story about the dungeon contest. In the end, Yu Wu couldn't refuse because his little sister used this move to seduce him. But Yu Wu advised his little sister to always listen to him and not wander around alone. With a cheerful face, Yi Yunfei answered that she knew that because she was not a 3-year-old child anymore. But the father who heard this said that as long as Yi Yunfei was not married, she was still a 3-year-old child in their eyes. Yi Yunfei was upset when he heard this, but all the other family members laughed happily seeing his expression. On the way to the black market, Yu Wu had told him all about the events in the dungeon and the attack on the academy yesterday. Yi Yunfei now understood why his older brother was so close to Miss Mo. But in Yi Yunfei's opinion, 20 million was too little because Miss Mo Kier's life was priceless after all. The older sister immediately asked her younger sister to be quiet because when someone was away from home their wealth was not exposed and this was not as simple as Yi Yunfei thought. Yi Yunfei immediately covered his mouth after being reprimanded by his older brother like that. This girl then asked why they had to go to the dangerous black market. Wouldn't it be better to look for the drug at the auction house? Yiwu replied that although the black market is not safe, the black market has the most complete goods. After all, with Yiwu, his little sister would always be safe. Yi Yunfei now firmly believes in it. This time, Yiwu was very confident about going to the black market, because he was completely different from his previous self. Apart from the increase in strength, what was more important was that they now brought in a lot of money. But just a few steps before they approached the black market area, 3 men confronted them and asked them to leave their money. At times like this, Yi Yunfei always took the initiative to step forward to face danger and asked his older brother to go first. A thug taunts Yiwu because as a man he has only reached level 4 and needs protection from a woman. Yiwu became the object of ridicule and laughter from the thugs because his younger brother came forward to protect him. Yiwu immediately asked his little sister to step back and stop her habit. Moreover, currently, Yi Yunfei's body condition is still weak. Yiwu said that from now on all the work of fighting and killing would be handed over to the older brother. Yiwu was determined not to let his little sister suffer anymore. The thugs immediately approach Yiwu. Leader says he just wants to take money and not kill today. Instead of being afraid, Yiwu instead said that he also didn't want to kill in front of his family. So if the thugs wanted to live, then they had to leave in front of him right now. Seeing Yiwu's arrogance made the thug leader immediately angry. He raised his huge arm preparing to hit Yiwu. But suddenly a sword came out and immediately stuck into the head of the thug leader, causing him to die on the spot. Yiwu was very appreciative of seeing the events that happened so quickly right before his eyes. But before this young man could react, a man ran as fast as lightning at his side and immediately beat up the remaining thugs. Even though the thugs were angry because they were suddenly attacked, they couldn't do much. Until finally all the thugs were defeated in just a short time. Yi Yunfei asked who was the person who had helped him. The handsome man smiled, then answered that he was just a passerby. Yiwu said that the way the man gave the attack seemed to say that he was just a passerby, but it showed too much humility. So Yiwu urged the man to say who he was. The mysterious man asked Yiwu not to worry about such details, because apart from appearance, the key to a real man is showing off. Yiwu was even more annoyed when he heard that because the young man in front of him had taken his experience points. Meanwhile, Yi Yunfei thought that the young man before him was very handsome, but his face is also very familiar. Yi Yunfei had to pinch his cheeks to stop imagining nonsense, because right now they are on a very dangerous journey. The young man named In Cheng said that the black market was not a pleasant place, and since Yiwu dared to enter the black market at his current level, Yiwu must have a good reason for coming to such a dangerous place. Yiwu replied that of course no one would joke about his life. Cheng asked the 2 brothers to follow him because he happened to want to go to the black market and he knew the place very well, so they both will be safe. Yi Yunfei took his older brother to stay away from In Cheng. The girl reminded her older brother that maybe the handsome man in front of them was a fraud who was trying to be nice. Even though the handsome man had just helped them, they couldn't prove that In Cheng was someone else and they had gone with Monster now. Seeing that the 2 brothers were so wary of him, In Cheng said that being wary was a good thing, but he had no other purpose. After all, Yiwu and Yi Yunfei were academy students. So as a former senior, In Cheng felt it was normal to help easier students. It was at this moment that Yi Yunfei realized that the handsome man in front of him was the star of the academy in the past, namely In Cheng. No wonder Yi Yunfei felt that the face of the young man in front of him was very familiar. The young man confirmed that he was indeed In Cheng. It's just that he didn't expect that it had been several years since he graduated, but the news about him being a high school star had just been heard. Yiwu finally remembered the young man named In Cheng. The young man was known as the first genius in the history of the academy. Because of this, In Cheng was invited by a professional team even though he had only been in the academy for 1 year. When In Cheng graduated, the young man had already reached level 20. If he didn't open up and rely on his strength, he would indeed be shocked. But in the final analysis, this man is more famous among women because of his visible face. Because they are confident in Cheng, of course, they are willing to follow In Cheng. They even express their gratitude for their senior's help. But Yi Yunfei suddenly